I had a little talk with Pastor Ed Smith. He's going to be doing a prayer today. And I was talking to him. I had some concerns, about the outcome and whatnot. Just putting these things together is like a little nerve-wracking until the actual day. And I love the crowd. I love the people. It's a matter of quality over quantity. And we definitely have the quality here.
Right.
Yes, sir. And anyway, so I was just expressing my concerns and whatnot. And the pastor said something in his wisdom. He said, Al, he said, you got to think back to the time when the apostles were uniting and being formed. And it's not a very different situation that we have right now. The apostles were for truth, they were for God, and we're for truth, and we're for God and country, and we've got to get the truth out. So, one of the reasons why we're here.
Right.
Yes, sir. Anyway, we're going to have we're going to do a pledge of allegiance to the flag. So we would like everyone to stand, if you would please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ashli Babbitt. Please remain standing, sorry. Sung for Ashli at the memorial service in Sacramento. So very special version of that song. We'd like to continue on, and we're going to have Pastor Ed. Where is he? Ed Smith. If you would come up here, please. The pastor's going to lead us in prayer.
All right. Now, what Al doesn't know is that I'm not going to just lead you in prayer. I'm going to educate you on some things that you need to know. Now, one thing you need to know is that this is a birthday party, and I know that your doctor told us that we should hydrate and press on. She said that. We're not here to be all sorrowful and whatever. And I asked myself, should I bring balloons? I didn't. I should have because no one else did. So happy birthday to Ashli, right?
Yes.
So, that's my first slide. And unfortunately, it kind of gives away the second. Can you play that second one? He's clicking. And his name is Edward, too, which is funny. 2 Eds are better than 1. It's my favorite joke. I love it. But it can't click it. Oh, there it is. If you look over here on the slide, this is a poster that Aaron knows all too well. And I got to see it firsthand when I drove over to meet the family back in February. And in the middle of it was what I was looking for as a pastor. I wanted to know if what I was hearing in the news was true or not. And I found out that they were a bunch of lying dogs. Because this is what Ashli believes. It's what Aaron believes. They believe in God. This country was founded on what? Not the Constitution. That was founded on the Bible, and that's a fact. If you don't know that, you haven't read it, and that's not your fault necessarily. Your education system's been failing you forever. But those founding fathers had behind them a bunch of pastors. Pastor Jonas is one of the most famous ones of all of them. He was standing there when Paul Revere came into town. He was. And he was there getting his men ready to fight against the British. The pastor was. Not any soldiers. He wasn't formally trained in anything. But he got his men and his ladies there ready to fight. And that's amazing to me, to think that pastors are the ones behind everything when it comes to teaching the truth about the history of America. So I want to tell you that this morning, that you need to remember that. The Bible is what the foundation of America is and will always be. Anything different is called New America, and we don't want that, I don't think, or we would be gathered here. Ashli didn't believe the Bible was unimportant. She knew it was. She knows it is. And today I want to share a scripture with you. It's going to make me cry. So bear with me. I might be a real man carrying maybe a gun that might be hiding somewhere on me, but I can cry too. I hope you can have your emotions on your sleeve if you need to, because people need to see reality, not fakery. You understand that? So I'm going to read you a verse. It's out of the book of Revelation. Many of you have probably seen it before, or you've read it. You're going to have to bear with me. I've recently turned 50, and with that comes these silly glasses. That's not even funny to you. It's funny to me. Hold that for me.
Absolutely.
And of course, I brought a little baby Bible. I can't see without my glasses on. Woo! So, this is in Revelation, and it's one of the coolest little verses about the end. It says very clearly in the end that the Lord has a 5th seal. This is chapter 6 of Revelation. He opens a 5th seal, and he saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Lots of fun thing to look at. If you don't know you're going to die, you all are. So am I. That's kind of fun. And you get free from this mortal body that you're stuck in that continues to fall apart. Right? And when you're free from that, you get to stand underneath the altar and ask the same question if you aren't here when the Lord returns. The Bible promises that too. He's going to return. That's a glorious thing. Until then, we have battles to fight. Satan's real. What do you think happened on January 6th? What do you think happened? Satan reared his head. And that's something you need to understand. I have another slide that I want to show you. This is what the name Babbitt means, Aaron. This isn't your fault. Alright? But that's what it means in Old English. It means you can laugh, it's okay, we're here to have fun too. You can laugh at that.
You're not wrong. She was the boss.
No, but that's her married name. Right?
I'm looking place of business.
Yes, there you go. But that's what her last name means. Now watch the next part. This is fun. Next slide, if you would. So that's what it looks like inside the hall. Right? No, the hall was dedicated by Christians that prayed over the cornerstone. And here's the next slide. Elizabeth means God is my oath. The word Beth in Hebrew means house. So really, Elizabeth literally means God is in the house, or the house of God is what it really means.
Amen.
And so that slide before that you saw is what? It's a house that was dedicated to the Lord, and it unfortunately saw a murder in it. Blood is now spilled in that Capitol, right? In that Capitol building. But here's what's interesting about that. Complacent businessmen are in that thing all day long. Right? In that house that belongs to the Lord. The next slide after that. There's Mr. Trump. And I took a quote that I think is really interesting. It says, "We have built no national temples but the Capitol." Like I said, if you don't know, when they laid that cornerstone, they dedicated it to the Lord. So literally, it is a temple of the Lord. That's what it really is. And it says, "We consult no common oracle but the Constitution." That was Representative Rufus Schultz in 1833. It's a long time ago. But they knew what that house was for. The next slide is Ashley's personal first name. It literally means ash meadow. That's what it means. You can't have an ash meadow if you don't chop down ash trees. I'm going to pause for a second. That's the horrible thing that happened on that day. A beautiful ash tree was chopped down. So put those all together. Complacent businessmen in a house that belongs to the Lord chop down an ash tree. Now here's what you don't know, maybe some of you do. I'll move on to the next slide. This is a poem that was written, now bear with me, I should make a little caveat. Within every group that exists, no matter what box you're in, there's good ones and bad ones in every mix. Doesn't matter if you're Freemasons, Jesuits, Catholics, Methodists, Baptists, whatever you are, whatever you claim as a title, there's good people and there's bad people in every group. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
You need to be able to figure out which ones are which. You need to figure out which ones are witches and warlocks. You need to figure that out because we're not up against anything other than evil itself. And unfortunately, the Bible does say the battle is not between flesh and blood. It's between powers and principalities, talking about spiritual warfare. But you can choose to be part of that spiritual warfare, either good or bad. Notice I went from right to left. Did you see that?
We saw.
So every group has good and bad people. So this is a Freemason poem that talks about the tree of life, which was from the Norse deities. Now, if you saw all the footage on the day that she was killed, there was the man with the buffalo thing, right? Did you see what he had as a tattoo in the middle? He had Thor's hammer below. He had Yggdrasil, the tree of life from the Norse gods. And then he had above that, the rock knot of the Norse. Now, it's odd to me because that's an ash tree. The tree of life from the Norse gods is an ash tree. That's a fact. This is a poem that's written by Freemasons. It's an old poem. It's been around for a long time. But it says down here at the bottom, "The tree of the world nor ill shall know, forever on its roots praise a dreadful foe, the dragon mid-horror, with his serpent train." The Bible tells you the same thing. There's a serpent known as Satan. He's trying to chew on the tree of life all the time, which is humanity's existence. And the ash itself, talking about that tree, "The ash itself shall grow old and frail, and all of its sides shall gray moss trail, and the sap shall sink from the branches tall, and alas, the wondrous tree will fall." You see, even the Freemasons back in the day, whether they were good or bad, knew this nation would only stand its ground as a republic if it was on the Bible and the Bible alone, and the Constitution and the flag which represents it. That's a fact. They knew ahead of time and hoped this would never come true. Next slide, Edward, if you would. So, here's what many of you probably don't know either. I just learned this summer, and I was so humbled by it, I didn't even want to even look at it anymore, because I should have known this a long time ago. Every fold of the American flag has a meaning since the Civil War. You can read that on every VFW website and book that you can find. We just don't know it. It's not taught anymore. So as you know, there's misinformation, there's disinformation, and there's information that's not in circulation. You understand that? The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Even the flag represents the Bible. How many of you knew that? Exactly. You knew that, sir? You didn't? Think about that. We have all ages in this group, all generations represented right now, and that's sad, isn't it? I was shamed, and I didn't know that until this summer. This is a prayer by George Washington. I'm going to get to where I'm going to pray for all of us. In the very end, he says, "Grant us supplication We beseech thee through Jesus Christ our Lord, amen. All across the country they're removing all kinds of things, right? Cancel culture, all that nonsense. If you cancel all that out, it's not America anymore. It's not. It's New America, or whatever you want to call it. You can call it technocracy. I don't care what label you give it, but it's not America. And if you don't want the Bible, then either you leave, or you tell me where I need to go to get away from you. I'm not going to fight you. You come at me, we'll dance. I might lift my kilt. I know all that entails. So, I want you to think about those things as you're here today. This isn't about me. I'm not here for any other reason to support one thing, the truth. The man who killed your daughter, I'm sorry for that. But his name is really interesting to me too. I told this last night. I wasn't even talking about this, but because we were chit-chatting about it, I thought I'd share it. Michael Leroy Bird. Bird is an old English word. It means the fowler. Those of you who know Scripture know that Satan is referred to as the fowler. Isn't that interesting?
The accuser.
The accuser, that too. So in the Old Testament, he's known as the fowler. He traps people like in bird snares. Leroy means the king. Michael means who is like the Lord. If you read that from left to right instead of right to left, you're talking about Satan himself. And that's what killed your daughter. That man was just a puppet in the hands of evil. I'm sorry for that. We're all guilty of that. We've all done stupid things that we need to be forgiven for. Whether that man has been remorseful or not, I don't think he has. So he's not forgivable at this point by the Lord. You hear what I'm saying? He hasn't asked for forgiveness from you. The Bible says something very clear. Those who show mercy will be shown mercy. If he has never asked for that forgiveness, then he's guilty right now of being a Satan puppet. Anybody in this room wants to be a Satan puppet?
No.
Anyone?
No, sir.
I hope not. Because that's not what we're called to be. And one last thing I'm going to say before we pray, and this shames me to no end. I asked Micki a while ago, I said, we've known each other now for almost 9 months. How many other pastors have reached out to you in this time? And she told me none. And I had left ministry in 2008 because I was tired of this. And I'll say it, no offense to anyone here, but the rest of the church has turned into a shit show. I'm sorry. I want that to sink into you. Not one other pastor in the United States of America has reached out to this family. That's disgusting. I've passed, I don't know how many enormous churches coming from Idaho to get here. One was reached out to Al and they said, no, we don't want to host this. I tried to do it in my community. Our most patriotic churches, I said, could we do a teleconference? He said, no, we're too busy. Couldn't believe it, but I can. That's why I left in 2008. So if you would do me the honor of standing up, removing your hats like you do for the flag, because if the Bible is represented by the flag, you're doing the same thing when you take your hat off to the Bible or for prayer. And anyone who wants to, there's something you really should do, because the Bible says you're going to do it anyway. When you die, you stand before the Lord, you're going to have to do this. That's a fact. The Bible says you're going to take off crowns that you earned while you've been here, and you're going to lay them at his feet, and then he's going to give them right back. That to me is super funny. That's how funny he is. He's like, oh, you can have it back now. Thanks for showing respect. So if you have the courage to kneel or can kneel, you should. Stand if you can, whatever you need to do. But let's honor the Lord who created this nation for freedom. Can we do that? And I'll lead you in a prayer and then I'm going to shut up. Because you don't want me to keep rambling. Because I can't. Heavenly Father, I want to come before you and I say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I was lazy for all these years and it took the death of a beautiful lass who had more courage than I did. I was going to go to that realm. I've never told that to this family, but I was planning to go. I called a friend and I said, I want to go. Will you go with me? He said, I would love to do that. And then we just didn't. I didn't go. But now here we are with courage and with bravery, Lord, and we ask you to anoint us with the Holy Spirit. We ask you to let us walk out of here to be humble and to stand our ground and to be the lions and lionesses you ask us to be. No longer are we lambs, we're lions.
Amen.
And we are to stand and fight against a serpent.
Amen.
And tell him no more. The Bible says the gates of hell will not prevail. Lord, you told us that. But we've been living in weakness and we're not standing up against evil, whatever that form is. Whether it be CRT or whatever dumb things they're preaching at schools or whatever it is in the country. We've refused to get involved, but we are now. It's not too late. It's never too late. So Lord, let us see some battles get won. Because you've already won the war. And it's a fact. You're coming back as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And we know that. And we praise you for that. And we thank you for Ashli's life of 36 years. Because she's still alive. She's probably up there at the front of the line going, hey, how much longer, Lord? I know she is. Because I saw what she did at the Capitol. She's that kind of person. She's brave, and we praise you for the fact that she's alive today because of Jesus' death on the cross and his salvation through his blood. And we pray, Lord, right now that you will just bless this time. Help us to have a great birthday party celebration and to tip one back for Ashli. It's in the Lord's name, Jesus, that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Woo!
Good job.
Come on now, let's hear it. Let's hear it for Pastor Smith. Great man, great nephew, for a great Wilma.
Come here, Wilma.
You know, the pastor mentioned that we,
Got my secrets from last week.
both him and I, we did contact some churches in the area. I live up in Northwest Houston. I contacted a pretty popular church out there in the Woodlands area, probably one of the biggest in the United States, one of the top 6. They all talk a good game, you know, but I told them about the event. What's going on with the noise? Hold on. No, that's not it. Hold on, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, that was true. People like to talk a good game, but when it comes to, you know, standing up and doing the right thing, sometimes people just don't have what it takes. I think we got what it takes here, though. This audience has what it takes. You know, we've got the heart, and we put truth and God as the top priorities. And as the pastor was saying, that is basically how the country was founded. It was founded on Christian Judeo principles. We're going to now have a video made by a gentleman, Mr. Ed Dubois.
Come on out, Ed.
And I think you're all going to like it. There's Mr.
Thank you.
Dubois right there. And I'm just going to get out of the way and enjoy the video with y'all.
You know, there's no breach of.
The shooting victim was transported from the U.S. Capitol about 35 minutes ago.
She was a big supporter of the president. Her name was Ashli Babbitt. She was an Air Force veteran. We know that she was shot inside of the U.S. Capitol.
This was an unarmed citizen involved in a fatal police shooting in the Capitol building.
Real go-getter, and she wanted to go into the military at a young age. 14 decorations and medals for her service in the United States Air Force.
Without Ashli, that void, it might as well be a giant black hole.
That was involved in taking your wife's life will not be charged.
We want to know what happened.
It started with the unjustified shooting of an Air Force veteran who stood at 5'2" and weighed 115 pounds in a federal building open to the public. Her name was Ashli Elizabeth Babbitt. Her tragic death left many scars on those with good in their hearts, from the hole ripped through her family to the reporter, Taylor Hanson of Gaming Pundit, who held a fallen hero during her final moments. Within a day of this patriot's murder, the media on all fronts stopped reporting her name, and thus began an effort to sweep it under the rug amid lies and smears, propagating an insurrection narrative. Her family didn't lose hope. Like Ashli, the fire burned within those who loved her to ignite a movement with a single purpose. Justice for Ashli. This is a fraction of the voices speaking up only a month after Ashli's murder. It started small, but the fire's been growing rapidly since. While the hate against her has been intense, the support has been stronger. The Department of Justice withheld all evidence within their control to make a false claim that wasn't enough proof to prosecute Ashli's killer, even withholding his name in a clear hypocrisy. To this day, more than 14,000 hours of footage of the Capitol and the areas surrounding it haven't been released despite calls for it to be made public.
He did not present an immediate threat to him, and there was no legal justification for shooting her. We talked to many of the people on Ashley's side of the door. Nobody heard a warning. I believe she even knew the officer was on the other side of the room. He's off to her left in a kind of concealing himself in the room. So, egregious act of excessive force. Should have been charged.
That followed Mother's Day. Everyone felt Ashli's absence around her. Driven by that, Ashli's mother, Micki, and her best friend, Wilma, left on a tour for Sacramento to raise even more awareness, so she might finally get the answers and the justice her family deserves.
Pointing and yelling at increasingly fascistic police who actively burying the fact that their fallen comrade passed a stroke 3 days after that, just so Biden could boo-hoo over his fucking casket and incriminate little adversaries. Yeah, what defense would this represent, comrade? Because it's directed squarely at fucking you female murdering parasites.
She was the only person killed directly by violence at the Capitol 6 protest that we are aware of. That violence came directly from the state. And the claim is pretty obvious that the officer violated Ashli Babbitt's civil right to be alive. Ashli Babbitt, as far as I am aware, was not armed, did not appear to be engaging in any sort of deadly force that would justify the use of deadly force by the Capitol Police. So the question is, was that appropriate? Was it the appropriate use of force? The investigation led to the Department of Justice announcing in April that it would not be pursuing charges against the officer in the shooting. And why would they, right? Why would they want to pursue charges against this officer? I mean, they're pursuing charges against all sorts of other officers, but not this one. Man just loses quiet on this one.
The truth is great, despite conspiracy and censorship. The word spread further. The question is, who reach right back where it all began? Our government.
Mr. Rosen, you recall the name of the young lady, a veteran wrapped in an American flag, that was killed in the U.S. Capitol?
I do. Her name is Ashli Babbitt.
Yes, Ashli Babbitt. Was Ashli Babbitt armed?
observations, but I just don't want to talk about individual situations or.
You're reclaiming my time, Mr. Rhodes, you know, so wrapped in the U.S. flag. Was the death of Ashli Babbitt a homicide?
Congressman, I'm not trying to be unhelpful here, but I just can't comment.
I understand, but I mean, you're spending my time. As the investigator says, it was a homicide. Who executed Ashli Babbitt?
Congressman, I'm just going to have to say the same thing here, that I don't want to get into specific facts and investigations.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
My question is this: if you care about the facts, the fact that she was shot inside the Capitol building by this person, these facts need to be asked, whether you have your own opinions on how this carried out or not. Ashli Babbitt was the night that day inside there by this person. Why aren't there more questions that are asked? And will this be asked inside this committee? Do you expect that stuff on?
What I found when I was governor, one of the most important things when there was officer-related shooting was to have an independent review. That was not only important for victim, family, friends of that individual, but also for law enforcement, so that if the person involved in law enforcement is legitimate, there's an independent outside review of that. Conversely, if in rare instances there was a problem, they didn't follow the rules and laws accordingly, there was an independent review. It wasn't left on that particular agency. One of the biggest problems with much of what happened on January 6th is that people don't fully know what happened and why.
Finally, after months of silence, the one person Ashli would have wanted to hear from most spoke up. Nancy Pelosi is spending a great deal of time, effort, and money on the formulation of a fake and highly partitioned January 6th committee to ask what happened. Will Nancy investigate herself and those on Capitol Hill who didn't want additional protection, including more police and National Guard, therefore being unprepared despite the large crowd of people that everyone knew was coming? Will Nancy and her committee study the massive voter fraud that took place during the 2020 presidential election, particularly in swing states? That was the reason hundreds of thousands of people came pouring into Washington and it would be a very good time to study the large-scale voter fraud.
Kick it again, Edward.
Therefore, must be a big factor in the final committee report. Now would be a very good time to study the large-scale voter fraud in our presidential election. Will Nancy release the thousands of hours of tapes so we can see the extent to which Antifa and Black Lives Matter played a role, while also revealing who killed Ashli Babbitt? A real and thorough investigation of this must be done. And what about all of the violence, murders, riots, and fires that took place in Democrat-run cities throughout the United States by Antifa and Black Lives Matter, with virtually no consequence for this death and destruction? Will Nancy look into the vicious partition investigations of conservatives and Republicans? The 5-year investigation of me and all that so many have been through it, including the fake Russia, New York prosecutors who work around the clock to get President Donald Trump, while murderers, drug dealers, and human traffickers go free.
By the way, who shot Ashli Babbitt? Who shot Ashli Babbitt? We all saw the hand. We saw the gun.
Who did shoot Ashli Babbitt? Why don't we know the name of that federal officer? U.S. Capitol Police is a federal agency. Why do you not know who shot her?
People are being treated unbelievably unfairly. When you look at people in prison and nothing happens to Antifa, and they burned down cities and killed people. There were no guns in the Capitol. They burned it except for the gun that shot Ashli Babbitt. And nobody knows who that man was. If that were the opposite way, that man would be all over. He would be the most well-known, and I believe, I can say man, because I believe I know exactly who it is, but he would be the most well-known person in this country, in the world. But the person that shot Ashli Babbitt, there was no reason for that. And why isn't that person being opened up, and why isn't that being studied? They've already written it off. They said that case is closed.
If that were the opposite, that case would be going on for years and years, and it would not be pretty.
Yet, even as the public needed accountability, Democrats ignored the people's will to put on a one-sided show full of lies to further their narrative and silence the truth.
Damn straight.
Once they'd spread enough lies, the elite finally allowed their murderer's shameful, excusable bastard lieutenant to be identified. Michael Leroy Byrd, the infamously incompetent man who'd left his firearm unsecured in a visitor center restroom inside the Capitol. This was the man they judged exonerated in an internal investigation. Now we see why they refused to release him. However, this act alone destroyed their reason for keeping his identity hidden at all.
You wrote, finally, good for Trump for publicly condemning the plight of detained January 6 protesters and the hypocrisy, by the way, handling of J6 protesters in 2020 rioters, and the silence of McConnell et al. This is becoming a big issue for the base. GOP leaders ignore at their peril.
It's time to remind our government it's not the other way around. They represent demand to know. And accountability starts with us and goes upward, not the other way around. They represent us. They don't rule us. We, the people, demand to know. There's justice for us.
Americans are such a great group of people. That was the work of Edward Du Bois, and I think he deserves a round of applause. What do you think? I had the honor of meeting this young, how old is he look? Like 16, 17? This guy's like 30 years old, been in the military, been in combat, right? Been in combat, this young man. When I met him, I thought, oh, what a fine young man. He's a fine looking young man, is right. And he's very honorable man. And this video is just a great piece of work. I love it. I don't know about you, but I loved it. And I want to thank another round of applause, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop breathing again because I'm going to turn the mic over to a professional. Jamie Allman has a radio program, talk show on iHeart Network, and I'd like to turn the microphone over to this fine man, and he's going to take it from here. Round of applause, please.
All right.
Thank you, Al. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's say Ashley's name loud. Ashley! I am proud and pleased and privileged to be here on behalf of Ashley because Ashley was there for me on January 6th, and she was there for all of us on January 6th. And I'm also pleased to be able to be here on her birthday. And in my opinion, her family, beautiful people, friends, to me, this is her most important birthday to a certain degree because Ashley rebirthed us in her death. Ashley created a brand new awakening. Ashley, murdered by her government, has created a whole new stream of not necessarily revolutionaries in the way that you imagine, but revolutionaries in the way that we think about our government and the way we think about our Constitution, the way we think about our Bill of Rights, and the way we think about justice, right?
Yes.
And I want to go back 35 years because on this 36th year, I want Ashley to hear us sing happy birthday to her because I know that she can hear us. I know she's with us. She lives in our hearts. She lives in our souls. She lives in our minds. So let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashley. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. I'll never forget that day, because I know we have a whole list of speakers going on, so I'm going to make this quick. That day when I was covering the situation on January 6th live and saw and heard about the death of Ashli Babbitt, I knew this was going to be an important day for us, an important day for our Constitution, an important day for our country. I didn't realize they'd be covering up her death. I thought it would be something more important to our government, something more important to the news media, something more important to the lawmakers who convened before she was even put into an ambulance, it seems. We saw Ashley for what she is, and what she is, I'll tell you what she is by telling you what she is not. She's not an insurrectionist. She's not a lawyer. She is a patriotic veteran, a servant to this country, a servant to liberty. She was there on January 6th, not to overturn the United States government, but to plead for election integrity. Once people get the story down, and I'm so glad people are streaming this, it's going out to thousands of people. Let's get the story straight. Ashli Babbitt was there among all the thousands of people to plead for election integrity. All we wanted was a 10-day review of each state that was in conflict. All we wanted. We didn't want to overturn the government. Ashli Babbitt never expected that was going to be happening that day. And when they opened the doors, and when they flung open the doors and let everybody in, including Ashley, she didn't break into the Capitol. She walked in with everybody else.
Yes, sir.
She didn't invade the Capitol. She didn't attack this palace, as they call it. She was in there with everybody else, hoping to get somebody to listen to her and listen to the voices of all the rest. And she paid for it with her life, assassinated by the government. It's not going to stand. And on this, her 36th birthday, we're going to pledge to you up in heaven, Ashley, and we're going to fight for you. Even if you have to fight for yourself. A lot of my people know me on the radio show. I've said this for the past couple of months because it kind of dawned on me that we're the new hippies. We are the new hippies. You guys like that? Because we are now the people who are fighting against a fascist government, fighting against the man. They are the man now. The people on the left, the fascist government, they are the man, and we are the people. So this is kind of our Woodstock today. Thank you, Ashli Babbitt, for that. Because we're going to call for justice, we're going to call for adherence to the Constitution, for election integrity, and that's who we are today. Thanks to Ashli Babbitt. We love you, dear. We love you. So, speaking of the new hippies, so David Summerall, back in 1992, it was funny because I asked him, hey, when did you start Stop Me? Because it sounds like something the left would start. Like 2 years ago, when President Trump was elected, or back during his term, stop the hate seemed to be a thing. So I asked David, I said, when did you start this? It was 1992. He was so far ahead of the game. So without further ado, I want to invite one of our fellow hippies up here, David Summerall.
Thank every one of you for coming today. I'm glad we have a professional in the house over there making us look good. And you know, I don't have a funny accent or anything. I say funny, I like it. Funny by good is what I mean by that. And I don't have a movie with me. I don't have a cowboy hat, a bunch of funny stuff. But I tell you what, we're serious about this fight. Let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you. When we were growing up, school, for us older people, taught you a little bit about Jefferson, a little bit about Washington, a little about all the heroes, many of whom gave their lives in pursuit of the freedom that we appreciate and enjoy today. Correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
This is what's happening again.
That's right. Yes, sir.
This is what's happening right now.
Big facts.
Let me read you something. And everyone make note of this. When you have a chance, go to Merriam-Webster dictionary on your phone. This will change. Do we know that the media and everybody changes the meanings of everything? Do we not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the Bible.
Check this out. Webster says hero, noun. The essential meaning of hero is a person who is admired for great or brave acts or fine qualities. We can deal with that. That's not political. But if you scroll down to the third meaning, it says, she was a hero for standing up to the government.
Amen.
Right here in the front.
Amen.
I have an interesting position in this fight. God wanted us to make this documentary. The devil didn't. So we made it. This is one of the reasons that Taylor Hanson's footage got out when it did. That a lot of these people, we had a video team there. I didn't want to go to DC like so many other people and felt called and led, and people said, why aren't you going? You've got 3 days left, you should go. And I said, let's put the team together, let's go video this. We've dealt with Antifa and BLM. We've videoed this stuff for years with the other things that we did. We had a documentary that shows all 4 deaths from January 6th. How many people, raise your hand, knew there were 4 deaths?
I didn't know until I watched your video.
How many people thought there was just 1? How many people thought there were 2 now? See, this is what we deal with. This is the information. This is the battle and the fight. That's why I appreciate every one of y'all coming here, because you're going to go tell people this story.
That's right.
About this brave hero that sacrificed her life. Listen, there's nothing she would like today on her 36th birthday more than wearing that funny hat at the restaurant. Am I wrong? Being with her family, being with Aaron, being with Nikki, your mom, right. Wilma, Rocky, everybody, come on.
Yep.
But you know what? God has a bigger plan.
Amen.
We don't understand how this works. It's not up to us.
That's right.
We could have never put the information in our documentary together without God.
That's right.
We started the documentary. Another guy came along and said, I have information for you. We're moving along, getting closer to the due date. Taylor Hanson comes up. I've got what you need. God built this film. It's a 37-minute expose of the truth. And they're shutting it down on social media, the censorship. This is not talked about. This is not narrated. I don't tell you what's happening, I'll show you. So I encourage you to share that with your friends. But let me tell you something. the emotion that's involved. I was there on January 6th. I was in the crowd when I got the text that Ashli had been shot. My whole team broke down right there. We've been crying about this forever. This is not right. This is not justice. And we have to hold the liars accountable for their sins. Now, let me tell you what. I respect the job that President Trump did in so many ways. I'm not here to bash him. But I am here to say that he needs to quit being like them. Did y'all see the speech? He said, we know the name. We know who it is. And then he walked off. Why didn't you say the name? Isn't that what you just accused the Democrats of doing? They're protecting this guy's name. Like, we know the name, see you later.
Good point.
That's right.
Think about that. Think about how politics works. Think about the game. Think about the cost. And think about Ashli. Willing. Let me tell you something, man. Brave is cool. I understand. You know, hey, I'm brave. I take a bullet for you. Would you? Would you? So I'm just telling you, from the bottom of my heart, Ashli is my hero. This family is my hero. Amen. And the last thing we need to do is compare what happened on January 6th when people showed up to stand to what BLM and Antifa do when they show up to tear things up and fight. They are not the same. They are not the same. So everyone that gets up and says, well, you know, we see what Antifa and BLM, there should be the same thing. No, we did not go to fight. We went and were attacked. There is a huge difference. Our video shows that. More on the way. We're working with Congressman Gosar. We're trying to get this information out. There need to be real hearings not led by Democrats.
Damn straight. That's
We need to do this ourselves, people. We're the ones that are breaking the information. Taylor hasn't stopped. He's the one that came out with Michael Leroy Burns' name. Taylor hasn't. These things would not be happening if people like him didn't love people like this. And we need to surround them with that support and celebrate Ashli and find the justice that she deserves, that we deserve. Listen, we've been telling people, look, they're coming after us first. A lot of us in here have been visited by the FBI. My employee is still under house arrest. We have friends in jail, no bail, the little guy out that shoots people at a school the next day, but these people can't get bail. They're stuck eating junk. They're trying to starve. And we've had 2 suicides. Anybody know about the 2 suicides since January 6th?
No, sir.
Yes.
The media hates us.
Good. Literally. Good.
This does not apply.
Right. Right.
They're a fair game. We have to take the battle for those people. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for standing with this family. Thank you for your love and support of all things God and country. Please reach out. Keep these people in your thoughts and prayers. Every year we should do something like this until it's made a holiday. Amen.
Yes.
So I'm glad that the preacher said it's okay to cry.
Yes, sir. Don't make me cry.
I know, right? It's like, come on, man. You did this. I shouldn't have quoted you. But let me tell you something. That's okay, too. We cry today and cry tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Amen.
We won't stop.
No, man.
They can't stop us all.
No way.
We're growing.
Aaron, we got your back, bro. No. We're in this together. We are family. This is America. This is we, the people. Now we need to go out and tell the rest of the country what's going on and get in line. Amen?
Amen.
So I'm going to turn this thing back over to Jamie. I will give this shameless plug one time. I ask you just to go and share the documentary. They're taking it down on social media everywhere. It's downloadable from the website. Everybody put stophate.com in your browser. Do whatever you got to do. There's Antifa stuff in there. There's FBI stuff in there. There's all 4 deaths in there. There's lots and lots of video and footage and investigation that we're doing. We're not stopping. We've got a petition to make January 6th Patriots Day, because it's the most patriotic day in our history, when people stood up against a tyrannical government to redress their grievances in the right place, at the right time, in the right way. Maybe not quite as violent as it should have been. Yeah. Because we left, we went home. How's that an insurrection when you go home at the end of the day and say, okay, I'll see you at the hotel though? It does not work, it does not make sense, and it's up to us to not comply with what they say anymore. We have to move on. But listen, there's a prayer group. I encourage you all, go to the website, find a prayer group, find the letter writing. Okay, everybody can write letters to these people. It's simple, and they need the support. They love the support. I talk to the families. When they get these letters, it is that hope. It is that bright spot. StopHate.com has all this stuff on it. We're just trying to help. We started the Department of Defense because our Department of Defense doesn't work for us. Okay? And the Department of Defense is just a listing of all the fundraisers for all these people. Please give all you can to this family. Let's take care of them. And as time goes on, let's support all these people that are being held as political prisoners and tortured on our behalf for our freedoms.
Amen.
Spread that word. God bless you all. Thank you for coming today.
Great work, man. Great work. We appreciate you very much. So we're in a situation now as they took off his documentary off the web. I know I did a documentary called Portrait of a Patriot. That has been taken off the web. So it's taken some real brave soldiers in the media who have stood up and continued to print and continue to evangelize for the truth. One of those websites is Gateway Pundit. Jim Hoff is an awesome guy. And I know David mentioned Taylor Hanson. Taylor's been on top of this story from day one. And it takes a lot of bravery, especially when the media doesn't want to hear it, when the corporations don't want to stand up for the truth, and even some sponsors of the Gateway Pundit were a little uneasy, but it didn't stop Taylor Hanson. Taylor Hanson, come on up here, buddy, and tell us what's going on.
Those of you guys that know me, I'm usually used to being behind the camera and not in front of them, so this will be a little bit of a different experience, to say the least. But at first, I just want to start by saying happy 36th birthday to Ashli Babbitt. Thank you. That's the whole thing that's brought us together here today. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't do this public speaking thing, but what happened on January 6th, I was in the room with Ashli Babbitt when Micki Babbitt decided that he wanted to execute her. And that changed my life and my perspective on law enforcement, what goes on in our country forever. And I don't mean to get emotional. It was an emotional day, and it still is for me. I just want to say thank you, and you guys are all so lucky to be in this room right now with Ashli Babbitt's family.
Yes.
Ashli Babbitt's family, they're some of the most amazing people I've ever had the chance of meeting. I mean, since day one, they were there for me. They knew what I went through, and I knew what they had gone through. And their support system, even though after they had gone through everything that they already had, losing a wife, losing a daughter, losing a best friend, they were there for me. They were there to pick me up. After I was traumatized after watching a United States Capitol police officer murder her in cold blood. So I just, they've become a second family for me, in all honesty. And like I said, I'm not one to give big speeches or spiels, but everyone in this room is lucky to be here right now. And this is exactly what Ashli would have wanted. She is the type of person that was outgoing, funny, loud, and you can never get her to be quiet, doesn't matter the situation. And I like to think myself in the same way. And Aaron and Micki, they've drawn the differences and the correlations between Ashli and I. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. And this is one of the most patriotic families, one of the most, caring for God and for our country that you guys will ever meet or have the chances of, let alone speaking to, seeing, or just having their presence around. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. You know, if Ashley was here right now, and she is, then she'd be smiling down on all of us. And I love you guys, and thank you for everything you guys have done for me throughout this process.
We love you
GatewayPundit.com is where you can see what Taylor does. It's just an amazing site and a brave site. So back in St. Louis, I do a show called All in the Morning. It's only because Johnny Tobacco in the morning was taken. So Johnny Tobacco is not only a fantastic name, he's also a great guy, community activist, and co-host of Wise Guys. I want to make sure we get Johnny Tobacco up to the microphone.
Thank you so much for having me here today. Scary to be a New York Giants fan and have to come to Texas on the day they play the Cowboys. But, you know, a lot of people have mentioned that January 6th is misconstrued, it's misreported, there's all kinds of fake news, but one thing I do want to say is that he was nice enough to mention that I'm on Newsmax, and I've been on Newsmax for 4 years from when it was just a little fledgling network. But in my show, Wise Guys, in the last 8 weeks, we've covered January 6th. We've told the stories of a number of January 6th patriots who are still in jail. And the senior management at the network continues to believe that we ought to be the one network that opens our mouth and says the truth about what happened on January 6th. So I just want to say to Aaron and Micki, myself personally, I have gone to the highest levels of Newsmax and said this is a story that needs to be told, your voices need to be heard, and Ashley's name and her actions and her patriotism need to be told to the whole country. So that's why I'm here today. Next week's show, if you can tell your friends, it's on Saturday nights at 9 o'clock in Texas, 10 o'clock at Eastern Time. The entire episode is being shot today about this event. We're going to talk to Aaron and Micki a little later on. So when you look across the network landscape of people who are feeding you fake news, just know this. One show, one guy, my partner Kara's there. She's the most patriotic voice out there for everyone on January 6th. We're going to tell the story until other people start listening to this story. So keep that in mind. The one thing, clearly I'm not a cowboy, I'm a Yankee. I got a lot of advice to not wear my pinstripes down here, but that's the way we roll in New York. And I want to be true to myself. I got my cowboy hat upstairs if you need it, but one thing that my show stands for, and I talk about it every single week when I start the show, is faith, family, and freedom. Amen. And it pertains to exactly why we're all here today and why we want to keep amplifying this message. And my 2 cents is this: if you don't have faith, if you don't have faith in the man upstairs that he's going to guide us to where we need to go, you got nothing. Okay? After you know you have your faith like I do, a lot of my friends here, I know you do too, you need your family. And whether you're in New York, you're part of a big Goomba Italian family, or out in California, or down here in Texas, that's the one thing that socialists fear most: family. Their number one mantra hidden behind all the stuff they talk about is they want the destruction of the nuclear family. And that's not what we're about. That's not, I know everyone here is about, that's not what we're about on my show. So I always say, if you got your faith in the man upstairs, you got your family, you're pulling close in here, you got those two. Those are the main 2 things you need to go out there and fight for your freedom. So I feel like Aaron, Micki, our family of patriots supporting Ashley is growing every single day. Anything I could personally do to keep amplifying that message and growing the family family of people that want justice for Ashley. I'm going to do for you. You have my word on that. And all I can say is this. Ashli Babbitt and many others went to the Capitol on January 6th to fight for the third thing, our freedoms and liberties. And if we don't keep fighting for faith, family, and freedom, we're going to be a socialist country, and that's not what any of us are here for. Aaron, Micki, God bless you both. Anything I can do, may peace be with you, and happy birthday to Ashley. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
John Tobacco, thanks so much. One of the more heartbreaking and frustrating elements of covering this story and trying to get to the truth of what really happened to Ashli Babbitt and the truth about the incarcerated political prisoners is talking to representatives in Congress who, for the most part, are gutless and will not stand up for Ashli, will not stand up for the Constitution, and will not stand up for the truth. It has been wholly frustrating to talk to these individuals. I talk to them on the phone, I talk to them at CPAC, and I say, hey, what about Ashli Babbitt? And they're like, well, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I gotta sit there and lecture these people who are duly elected representatives about she was not in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was in the exact right place at the right time. Because these representatives see it as their palace. They were shocked to see faces of Americans, some of whom elected them, show up at their doorstep. How sick is that?
It's our house.
Yes, right on. So thank God for representatives like Paul Gosar. And in fact, I think I can count on one hand the number of representatives who have spoken out on behalf of Ashli, whether it be in hearings or whether it be even visiting the DC jail where the political prisoners are. Paul Gosar, as you saw in his video, is amazing and great, and he's such a great guy for actually offering Ashli a happy birthday today. So I want you all to pay attention to the screen there, and Congressman Paul Gosar.
Good morning. This is Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar. I want you to do a celebration of Ashley's birthday. During instead, Valley State continues to demand answers. Ashley's family and indeed all of America deserve full transparency and accountability surrounding the murder of Ashley. I will not stop asking questions and demanding justice for Ashley. Ashley, you know how much you are missed. You are so loved, and we wish you were here today. God bless.
Yes, sir. Congressman Paul Gosar, one of the few courageous ones. Speaking of courage and speaking of bravery, Ashli Babbitt's family, they raised a brave and courageous patriot. They raised a vivacious, energetic, and truly love of country ocean girl, who also is a 14-year veteran of the United States Air Force. So this family, on this her birthday, we thank God for her family and for a family that raised a hero like this. Incredible. So thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you for that. And I will tell you that Aaron, and we'll talk later on, also, they raised each other. I will tell you about that later, but they are the most loving, amazing couple. It's one of the things I saw the minute I was able to talk to the family. Just incredible what Aaron has done and did for her. Another person who was an important part of the Ashli Babbitt family is Wilma. So Ashley's mom, of course, decided she was going to go across the country in a van. She saw it in that documentary there. And those two are an amazing crew. I was at one point comparing them to Thelma and Louise and then realized that movie didn't end well, so I wasn't going to do that. But in their spirit, in their unity together, it's such an impressive communion of two very true Americans, true passionate Americans, and true courageous people. Wilma, come on up and tell us your story.
Welcome everyone for coming and celebrating Ashli's birthday. I'm Wilma. I've known the family for just about 40 years. And I want to tell you about Ashli. She was an amazing young woman, full of life, passionate, kind, had a warm heart. Her laugh would brighten up a room. She loved this country. She was a proud American. And one of her favorite days was the 4th of July. So I'm going to tell you a story about 4th of July, 2020. She was hanging out with her loving husband and a couple of friends, Kayla and Micki. They hung out at the beach all day and watched the sunset and went back to the house and listened to patriarchal music, just singing at the top of their lungs. They didn't care what time it was. Neighbors, they didn't care. They just sang, had a good time. And then at one point, I'm Proud to Be an American came on. Of course, let me tell you, Ashley and everybody would be all dressed up. There's a picture you saw up there. They were all in their patriotic clothes, and Ashley always loved having a flag around her. But anyway, they were out there singing, and then when I'm Proud to Be American came on, their neighbors started coming out and singing with them. And it was quite amazing. It was, they just said, Kayla was like, this is, just an amazing night. Singing at the top of her lungs, neighbors coming out, and that's what Ashley would do. She would unite people. Doesn't matter if it was singing or if you're playing bear pong. She made it happen, you know what I mean? She was just that kind of person. She could touch you. She could touch you like on a personal level. But I'm going to share another story with you. There's a gas station right around where they work, her office is, and she would go there and get gas, and her Kayla would go with her, so doing errands and stuff, and they got to know the lady that worked there. And Ashley found out it was her birthday, so she brought her flowers one day. And that just brightened this lady's day. She had the biggest smile, and so Ashley took note of that. And then every year, apparently she brought this lady flowers, and that was so cool. And so then after the horrible event, about a month later, Kayla was there with Ashley's car, getting gas in the end, and had a conversation with this lady, and she just went up to Kayla and just said, how sorry she was, what a horrible thing, and that Ashley was her friend, and told her the story about how Ashley brought her flowers on her birthday, and it really brightened up her day, and just touched her, and they had a connection that way. And then she asked Kayla, can I just give you a hug? Kayla said it was the most warmest, loving hug that she felt. It was, she had touched this lady that much that her love just came out to her. And when she was talking to Kayla, she kept saying, my Ashley. She said it repeatedly, my Ashley. We need to get justice for my Ashley. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened to my Ashley. Well, I feel she's my Ashley. She's your Ashley. She's all of our Ashleys. Right. So we need to keep her name alive and not have it pushed under the rug like it's trying to happen. So as long as we keep talking about her, and our slogan, justice for Ashley is justice for all. That was our motto when we went up on our Mother's Day. We did our little YouTube things and set them out, and we got stuff taken down and all. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but that was it. Justice for Ashley is justice for all. And then I know that Ashley wanted to make a difference with her life, and boy did she. So, and I was going to say, so let's all join in and say her name out and sing happy birthday. But can we just say her name one more time, guys? Loud. Ashley! Ashley Babbitt! Ashley Babbitt! Ashley Babbitt! Right on. That's right. Yeah. She was a true American patriot. She gave her all. So we need to remember her for the person she was. Her warmth, her caring heart, her smile, her fist pumping, shaka throwing up Ashley hand. She was just that kind of a girl. So with that being said, I just really want you guys to know she was warm, passionate, full of life. She had a lot to give, and she was taken from us early. So let's just remember her name, say it, pass out the word, let everybody know we need to get justice for Ashley, because it is really going to be justice for everybody, for all. And I truly believe that when we were on our mission. So let's lift her name up and just remember it. And in closing, all I can say is justice for Ashley is justice for all, and hydrate and press on.
Wilma and Micki, when they took that Mother's Day trip, they took the trip in a camper. I know it's been documented well, but if you don't know it already, they took this trip in a camper. We're in Sacramento, stayed on the streets in a camper. I remember taking pictures of them playing cards in their camper and everything else, never knowing what's going to happen in downtown Sacramento. But one of the great things about it too is that they met people who came up to them who didn't know who Ashli was and were probably on the side of the people who were like, oh, it's insurrectionists, whatever, and managed to evangelize on behalf of Ashli, on behalf of Justice for All, and change some minds. I think maybe it was maybe 2 minds. It doesn't matter. Just to change one was important. And these 2 brave souls went to Sacramento in a camper without a gun.
Yeah,
But they were just up there on the road. It's just an amazing story, these 2, one for the ages. Speaking of one for the ages, this guy, Al Manica, my goodness gracious. You're not only an artist, a beautiful artist, a wonderful artist, and I think you're a yachtsman too, I mean, and you're also a musician and singer. And Al Manica is going to perform a beautiful song for us, and the title is Her Name is Ashli. So, Al, take it away.
No, I'm gonna go try. I hope I can project my voice loud enough back there. Can y'all hear me? Yes, sir. We were trying to get southeast of that's right. You know, Aaron and I are from the same neighborhood, right, Aaron? From Fall River, Mass. He's about 15 miles north of me in Massachusetts. And so as soon as I heard him talk, I said, man, we're from the same area, got the same accent. Mobile. Anyway, yes, I did write this song for Ashli. I, like everyone else, when I saw the incident first happen, very sad day, very sad day. First thing I did was I started working on a portrait painting, okay? And because I dabble with oil painting and that type of thing. So I put a portrait painting out online. Micki came across it, and okay, I can use that for now. Thank you, Moby. By the way, a big round of applause for Moby. Moby is the man that helped us put this together. And think about him. He's a great man, hardcore conservative, like most of us here. And yeah, he did a great job helping us putting this together. So thank you, Moby. Okay. Okay. Anyway, you hear this? Probably going to break a string before it's all done. But I hope y'all can hear it. It's called The Name is Ashli. Ashli, American, a true and true. She is our hero, as true as a red, white, and blue. She went to Washington to help us see the light. Like the millions that had also heard the call. But like the Democrats that they threw it all away. You know they shot her down. They shot her! Now she's an angel. She's looking down from heaven above. We will not forget her, because remember now it's soaked in love. She went to Washington to help us see the light. Like the millions that had also heard the call. Yeah, but the Democrats that took our love away, you know they shot her down. I've heard a lot of talk from those same people. They're telling us now, we can't say her name. Do we have any people out here that agree with that? I don't think so. So we're gonna say your name. We're gonna say it loud, we're gonna say it clear. I hope you join me. Ashli, 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 Ashli. She went to Washington to help us see the light. Like the millions that had also heard the call. Yeah, but the Democrats that stole a love away. You know, they shot her down. They shot her! Her name was Ashli. Say it loud. I say it clear. I said her name was Ashli. And say it proud, without fear. She went to Washington to help us see the light. Like the millions that had also heard the call. Yeah, but the Democrats that stole love from us, you know they shot her down. They shot her. That's right. Took our sweet Ashli away. But we're not gonna forget her. Say it loud, say it clear. Ashli Babbitt! Ashli Babbitt!
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much, and again, for your hard efforts here and the efforts of the family. This birthday celebration would not have happened, so big round of applause for Al for making it happen. So, we're going to take about 10 minutes, and when we come back, we're going to hear from a few other people, including Micki and Aaron and President Donald J. Trump. We'll be back.
It's Taylor, you know? That's what all we wanted was Taylor, right? All right, so I guess in about 10 minutes, we'll start again. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this on. We'll start again. That's when Ashli.
I think I'll probably use the time since I don't want to cut my live stream. To the people who are watching, there's kind of an intermission going on here, so probably speak to a couple people, in the meantime. But this is going to be continuing with President Trump himself, or former President Trump, contributed a video that is expected to play in a little bit, as well as the family of Ashli Babbitt, who you've seen throughout the stream so far, but who haven't taken the podium yet, will also be speaking. So, so stay tuned, stay on the stream here. The story will kind of continue.
Stop the Bonnie Blue. Put that up in the first. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Probably right here is the best. Yeah. Mess up your audio.
So, it's been a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother. We've had some adventures, haven't we? Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, it was only a couple days after January 6th that you were rallying in front of the Texas State Capitol talking about Ashli Babbitt. I mean, honestly, it was one of the first stories that I had somebody cover following January 6th and kind of about it.
It's the first time anybody really went public like that and spoke about it. And
yeah,
called out the DC police, and then about a day later, the DC police chief resigned and explained that he did request multiple times for support there.
So now that we're at this event, the family is here. What is sort of your perspective, many months later, of Ashli Babbitt, what she stood for and what she sort of symbolizes to you?
What she symbolizes to me is Lady Liberty, and what that means is a fearless, ferocious American woman, sister, a daughter, a beautiful individual that had no violence in her whatsoever, that served her country proudly, and until the day that she died, she stood for this country. And the individuals out there that are demonizing her spirit and who she was should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. This is a situation where we watched an individual commit murder. Committed murder. And he's just walking scot-free. And when I saw that man on the television saying things like, people are calling him a hero, people are calling him righteous in his actions, all I can think of is that anybody that's thinking that has to be absolutely evil inside and with no redemption necessary, whatsoever. And I think that the end result that is going to occur with this is there's going to be justice for Ashli. There will be. It's going to be demanded until it happens. So,
what would that look like?
Justice will mean that he will be in prison. He will be charged for murder. There's no excuse for what he did. He explained in his interview that what you call perjury, when you perjure yourself in a statement. Initially in his statement, he explained that he never saw her hands. You can clearly see in the video that her hands are on the frame of the window and empty. So what we have is a liar. We have a liar and a murderer that's been held as a hero with no justice whatsoever, pretty much based on political agenda. This isn't about politics. This is about life. This is about appreciation for life. This is about, at least respecting life enough to not just take it so whimsily. We know that behind Ashli there was multiple police officers. You know, there was multiple armed police officers that were right behind her. This man had no justification to do what he did, and that's all there is to the story. So the question is, why isn't there justice already? And the answer is politics.
On politics, I mean, this might be sort of a tough subject, but I heard, a criticism out here of President Trump, actually, that said, he said that he knew the name of the officer, and and then he actually didn't reveal it when he said that he had it.
Yeah.
What's kind of your feeling about President Trump at this point?
My feeling is this, and I'm going to state this without any hesitation whatsoever. They were all there for Trump. Ashley was there for Trump. In the middle of his speech, 45 minutes before his speech was even finished, there was an attack on the Capitol. We all know that that's what occurred. It was an attack on the Capitol. It was going on during Trump's speech. The first wave of people that went in to breach the windows, the doors, to go in there, it already happened. His security officers knew. There's no way that he did not know or was not told what was going on at the Capitol. There was no warning given to the people on J6 to not go to the Capitol. But simply the only thing that he said was, now everybody go home. There was no warning about what was going on. So my question is, when did he know that that was happening at the Capitol? Did he know? Did his security know? Did they withhold that from him? Did they not tell? There's so many questions that we don't have answered. But that is the main question that we demand to know. Did he know during his statement? Did he know? Did he know what was going on there? Could he have warned all of the Americans, the patriots that were there, don't go down there, it's dangerous, there's something happening? We don't know that.
I mean, I was there at the speech. Toward the end of his speech, he said, and now we're going to walk east on Pennsylvania Avenue. And he said, and I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
And of course, as we know, he was not there with them.
Wasn't there.
But so it sounds like you're disappointed in him, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I am. What I am is, I am a little disappointed, but more than anything, we want answers. We don't have them. Why do we not have the answers that we're requesting? Why do we not know the full story about what happened all this time later? Why is it so hard for us to know and be told the truth behind what happened? So that's what I seek. I seek truth, and I seek to know the truth so I can speak the truth. And if there's any case whatsoever that him or his security knew that that was going on at the Capitol and they failed to explain that to the people, then there's a responsibility that's been lacking the whole time. And don't get me wrong, Trump was a way better president than especially the potato in chief that we have. So we're sitting in a situation where we're torn between not knowing the truth, not knowing what really happened, and a man that waited so long to address the situation with Ashley. That's something that should have been addressed right away. Was it right? Was it wrong? It's not hard to stand up for what's righteous, okay? If it's right, then you do it. If it's wrong, you don't. If it was right to come out and ask the questions and find out what happened, then why didn't he do that in the first place?
I think it was after the shooting of Ashli Babbitt that he sent out that tweet that said something, I don't have it in front of me, but that said something to the effect of, these are the things that happen when our democracy is stolen. Go home in peace, and you're all very special.
Right.
You feel like he should have addressed it earlier, or he should have sort of stood up for his own folks more?
Timing is everything, especially in this situation. Timing was everything. What's ended up occurring is the narrative was completely blown over. The demonization of Ashley occurred. Who was defending her? Who was standing up for her? I did. I did that. I walked out in public, put my head on a chopping block, and I said, hey, who did this? Why? Why is it not being, taken care of? Why is there not justice being, given to this family? Why is there not answers being laid on the table? Why isn't this man that called this rally that day, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, why was he not on top of the game to protect his own people? That's all we want to know. That's it.
What was the response like after that? You, like you just said, it was just days later that you were outside the state capitol talking about this issue. Before I saw any other demonstrations or anything addressing it. It was like the summer that people started doing the Justice for J6 stuff.
Right.
How was the response to you? How has your movement kind of evolved, and where do you think it's going?
Well, it's in many ways it's evolved into a righteous march for truth and justice. You know, we're honored as Americans to have truth, justice, liberty, freedom, all of these things that we are pretty much given in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Why has the Bill of Rights been violated for this woman? And no justification, no answers, no real statements have been made other than seeing this man, this murderer on TV, being told that people are saying that he's a hero for doing what he did and he saved lives when he did not do so. He took a life. And he didn't only he took a life wrongfully. You know, in this country, you cannot just shoot down an unarmed individual for no reason at all. You just can't do it. You end up in prison. Anybody else that would have done that would be in prison right now. So why isn't he?
I'm sure that I have some people who are watching who are thinking about last year's summer and activism related to police officers who have shot unarmed black people, and you know that they've gone out and protested about that. Do you feel like your view of policing has shifted, or the right's view of policing has shifted since this incident?
Well, I would have been there on January 6th. I would have been there if it weren't for my arrest at North Star Mall in San Antonio for not wearing a mask in a mall. You know, I would have actually been there. So, you know, these Ashli Babbitt being murdered, my arrest, illegal arrest, violent arrest, which ended up causing me massive injuries to my body, my neck, my shoulders, my back. I mean, the video is all there. The one thing I can say is that my faith has become lower. I have a lower faith in officers. I still have the faith that there are more good officers out there than there are bad. I believe that Bird guy, he was a bad police officer. We know that he was a negligent, officer. He made bad decisions. He was forgetful about his firearm. He just left his firearm sitting in a bathroom in the Capitol. I mean, anybody could have grabbed that firearm and took off and committed a massacre with that handgun in that public restroom. So we got to look at the facts of this guy. He's not a hero. He's not a hero at all. He's an idiot. And the majority of people, even Democrats, don't agree with what happened to Ashli. This is not political. This is human. This is humanity. This is decency. This is what we give each other when we live in this country together. We have the Bill of Rights, like I explained earlier. We are supposed to go by a guideline of honor and integrity and mutual respect. And what we're being shown with Ashli and what we're seeing and what they said about her and what the media, mass media, had portrayed her as was a complete lie. And that's what we're seeing in this mainstream media is nothing but lies lately. So where is the accountability for that? Basically you have somebody that's defaming and lying about an individual that they have no business lying about for no reason. What other reason why the mainstream media lie about this situation if it wasn't?
So what's the future of the Patriot Movement look like for you? What's next?
Future of the Patriot Movement. I'm running for governor of Texas. I'm in the race. I have support from many groups. I've got the signatures to join the primary. Of course, they're not going to let me debate them because I'm an independent. I don't believe in the Republicans or the Democrats anymore. I'm done with both of them. They're two parties that are corrupt as hell, and we need to step away from them. I'll be running on a secession platform for Texas. I've got many Democrats and Republican friends, many independents that support me and back me up and know what I'm about. And it's not about politics. It's about human decency, freedom, and liberty. And we're just gonna leave the union. We're just gonna leave. That's as simple as it gets. We're gonna leave the union. We're gonna become our own country, and we're gonna get it right at Texas. We're gonna be the beacon of freedom and hope for this continent.
You got your signatures? You're on the ballot?
No, I still have to put them in.
Okay.
Put them in. Yeah.
Secession for Texas. I mean, I know that it's now a little bit off topic, but why?
Secession. So what we're looking at is a complete failure of government. We have failure on the Republican side. We have failure on the Democrat side. We have complete, massive, and utter dystopia. I mean, we have literally when you see this situation we're in, we're living in idiocracy. We are literally living in the movie Idiocracy. I mean, we're not too far from the government saying that they're going to take Monster and water our crops with it. You know, so why would we want to stick around for that? You know, I mean, it's just the bottom line is that if we can't fix this system in America, if we can't get in there and fix what's wrong, there is nothing left for this country left. We know that there was election issues. There's people that have been indicted for the election fraud. It's already happened. So that's a legitimate beef. You know, how big or how small, we don't know yet, but we're finding out left and right with these audits that we're in a situation that dirty politics and dirty election fraud occurred. So if we can't get a actual election that's free from all fraud, then what can we do? Because Texas didn't use the Dominion voting machines. We called that out as a no-go right away. We knew that it wasn't right. Those machines could be hacked very easily, which 30,000 in the Maricopa audit, 30,000 downloads, 30,000 entries into these machines in Arizona. I mean, we're just looking at something that can just be hacked into, taken over, and in the end, our votes mean nothing. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, whichever way you lean, whatever your beliefs are, you know. So the answer is this: we're out. We leave. We leave that failed system, and we create our own that's justified. And, you know, and I believe that there needs to be police reform. Absolutely. You know, with police reform, there needs to be rewards for good officers too as well. Because there are more good officers out there. You know, it's not the birds. It's not the people that arrested me at the mall in North Star. That is not the majority of police officers in America. You know, I'm no bootlicker, don't get me wrong. But I can tell you this, that when I was 16 years old, I had an officer that could have done nothing, and I would have died that day. But he didn't. He picked me up, he rushed me to the hospital, and he saved my life. I'm here because of an officer. Ashley's not here because of a bad one.
Do you think the majority of Texans would get behind you on that?
Absolutely.
On separating?
Absolutely. I've got the support of over 500,000 Texans right now. So, and probably way more than that I don't even know about at this moment. So, you know, I'm grassroots. I'm not taking any campaign donations. I'm not purchasable. In no kind of way will I be a man that will be owing favors to anybody. We already have Abbott out there raising millions of dollars for his campaign. We know what he's doing. He's taking favors. He's taking bribes basically for future things that he can do for people. I'm not going to do that. I guarantee you that there's not one candidate, even the gubernatorial, you know, Abbott in office, that will relinquish his salary to veterans. So what I'm going to be doing is, when I win governor of Texas, I'm going to donate my entire paycheck to veterans programs in Texas. They're all going to go to vets, every single one of them, to help them with their housing, to help them with their college. I created a program in college that made the college that I am in #2 in the country, #2 in the country for veteran success. Tarrant County College South Campus. Went there and created a program, and the veterans have thrived. So there's programs that need to be created, they need to be fostered, they need to be built. There's you know, of course we got the border issue going on, you know, and this is what happens when you have a limp-wristed governor. You know, when you have a limp-wristed governor, you have no respect. And the same way with the limp-wristed, you know, idiotic president. So, you know, we're in a bad situation there.
If Texas was its own country, you'd end up not having sort of federal support. Something like the border, do you think Texas, the state of Texas itself, would be able to handle those sorts of issues?
Well, we're about to do a little something here in about a week and a half. We have about 80,000 Haitians that are going to be coming down. They're coming up to the border, and their leader has evidently made declarations of war against the people of Texas. They've explained that they're going to be coming in, and if we stop them, they are going to murder every single one of them that are in the past. So I'm going to be there right up front with all the rest of the brothers and sisters from all around the country, from all walks of life, and we will be down there at the border. We will be stopping these people from coming in.
You're planning on, personally, in a week and a half, you're going to be out there at the border?
We'll be down there stopping them. They're not coming in. We're not letting them in. There's talks about Abbott going ahead and deputizing the individuals that will be going down there to do that. So we're We're counting on deputization. We're counting on Border Patrol to, guide us to what we need to do. We're in talks with the actual Border Patrol right now, several groups. Right now, we have over 50 different groups from all around the country that are prepared to come down for up to a week and a half.
Is it only your intention to do that if you do get the sort of endorsement of state actors like Border Patrol or the state of Texas?
We have to get approval. We have to get it. And we're going to be going down anyway, regardless. It's not against the law to go somewhere. So
right.
we will be going regardless. We all will be showing up. So that's going to happen. How far our interaction comes with this situation. Border Patrol is actively getting massacred right in front of us. We're not going to sit there and watch that. I'm sorry. That's just not the Texan way. We're not going to stand down for that. So, we're not going to allow our people to be attacked. We're not going to allow our people to be murdered. We're not going to allow these people to just run rampant right over our border. If we do that, then that's the end of America. Texas is the bastion of freedom and strength and the capability to defend one's property. Right here, if you come to my house and you try to step on my property, I have specific signs that say, if you step past this point, I can take you out. That is exactly the way mentality that we need to put this situation, because there is no other way to put it. These people are considered terrorists now by Texans, by Americans, by patriots. We've established the fact that they want to come, and nothing is going to stop them.
Migrants? I mean, that's a pretty extreme, if I may say so. It's a pretty extreme use of language about people trying to come over. That's your view of the folks that are coming?
It's extreme language that the gentleman, or not gentleman, but the POS that is leading the group has already explained that he's going to be killing people to get over the border, no matter what. He's explained that there will be death to our own brothers and sisters, our own patriots in this country, if we try to step in their way. Okay, so not only are they not entitled to come here for any reason whatsoever, so many of them have jumped 4 countries just to get to the American border. This has become what was the start during Trump's term that Trump shut down. So this is the beginning again, but we don't have anybody stopping them from coming. So we got Joe Biden calling back National Guard in Texas. He's basically saying, no, you can't even use your own soldiers and your own people to secure your area. There is no justification for what he's saying. There's none. So, at this point in time right now, we can sit back and we can allow this happen, or we can be like Ashli, and we can run free, and we can go speak our mind, and we can jump up in that window if we want to.
Well, I'll be keeping track of whatever happens. That's certainly an interesting development that you just shared there.
Yeah, we'll be peaceful all the way to the border. We'll be caravanning down there. We won't even be getting out of the vehicles unless the Border Patrol or Abbott, deputizes us, and that's just the way it's going to be. Yeah. So
your plan is to stand by unless sort of called upon or something happens.
Exactly, man. Unless some horrible violence comes to our brothers and sisters that are protecting us down there. They've been demonized too. You look at the mainstream media of them saying that they whip people with whips. I mean, that is an absolute disgrace to truth, 100%. So we see what they're doing. They're demonizing our protectors on our border, and they're stopping the people that can stop this situation, this terrible situation. Okay, so we have record unemployment here in America. I mean, we have people losing their jobs. We have people losing their jobs because they don't get a vaccination that they don't even need. And then they're going to be bringing people, they have an intention to bring these people in to replace whoever is losing their position in their jobs. So we're sitting in a place right now of complete tyranny. So these people coming over the border are not legal. Doesn't matter what anybody's heart says or what they want. They want these random people to just be able to come flood right in. We don't have open borders. We're a sovereign nation. So we need to start acting like that, and I believe that the people are going to step up and do that when this situation comes to.
All right, we will see what happens. I think I saw them start to set up that video, so I think that this is going to start up soon.
Close. Okay.
But thanks for chatting.
Yeah, man. Good to see you again, Ford.
Good to see you. Okay, so again, this is currently kind of an intermission in this rally, but when they come back, their plan is to have a video play from former President Trump, who made a video like specifically for this event. Earlier, they did have Congressman Gosar, a video from Congressman Gosar. I will say this so that for the sake of YouTube has like a requirement about countervailing views in order to talk about certain subjects. So I will just point out that if there has been any content that YouTube would consider either election or vaccination information spoken by the people who I've interviewed or who have spoken as a countervailing view, you can go to CISA.gov. What's it called? / rumor control, CISA.gov / rumor control for election information, and you can go to the WHO website for COVID information. And the reason I'm saying that, again, that is a YouTube countervailing view. So they have, they have stated that if you are documenting, documentary footage or whatever, then by including access to countervailing information, that the content won't be censored. So anyway, it looks like people are coming back in, so we will see what happens here as it continues, including the family of Ashli Babbitt here speaking. Sorry? What's your Instagram? I actually don't have Instagram. Just Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Well, here, if you ever get one, here's a rule. Don't call someone a twat. You get immediately mixed. That's what just happened to me like last month.
You got banned for using the word twat on Instagram?
Yeah, because there was someone who insulted one of my Justice for Ashley pictures.
Wow.
So that was already they were already watching that one. So yeah, I'm not on Instagram anymore.
Huh.
I don't need that platform. If it's not going to do that, then I don't need it.
Are you on any of the social or?
Twitter, Facebook, the usuals.
I've been live streaming the whole event. I'm still live. If you want to chat about what you produced, I'd be happy to have you talk. If not,
no bad.
Okay, no worries.
I didn't know you were still live.
That's fine. I try to present things beginning to end. That's the.
I think so. We're actually getting ready to start, but you can before we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, intermission is ending. Please return to your seats for the remainder of the rally.
about to start our part 2. Everyone can take your seats again. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Great crowd, great rally. We've got a very special guest that's going to be appearing here, as advertised on our flyer. That's President Trump. To be sure that I wrote that he was not going to be appearing in person. Didn't want to disappoint anybody when they got out here, but he's going to be appearing in here.
60,000 people out here, man.
60,000, yeah, that'll be the next one. We're planning another one, so stay tuned. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So we're going to play President Trump's video that he provided to us. We'll work a little hard at getting that, but we finally did get it, so we're going to play it for you right now. You ready?
It's my great honor to address each of you gathered today to cherish the memory of Ashli Babbitt, a truly incredible person. To Ashley's family and friends, please know that her memory will live on in our hearts for all time. Ashley served our country in the United States Air Force for 14 years, where she was a security forces airman and eventually went on to achieve the rank of senior airman. She defended our nation overseas, including in Iraq, to fight in the war on terror. On that horrible day of January 6th, Ashley arrived at the United States Capitol. She was shot and tragically killed. Today would have been her birthday. Happy birthday, Ashley. Happy birthday. We're looking at you and you're looking down on your family and on us. My heart and the hearts of millions of Americans across the country are with everyone who knew and loved her. I especially want to express my great sympathy to Ashley's loving husband, Aaron, and her wonderful mother, Micki. I spoke to both of them. These are great people. Together we grieve her terrible loss. There was no reason Ashley should have lost her life that day. We must all demand justice for Ashley and her family. So on this solemn occasion, as we celebrate her life, we renew our call for a fair and nonpartisan investigation into the death of Ashli Babbitt. I offer my unwavering support to Ashley's family and call on the Department of Justice to reopen its investigation into her death on January 6th. Like all Americans, you deserve a fair process, you deserve answers, and you deserve justice. Thank you for being here. God bless you, God bless Ashley's incredible memory, and God bless America.
Oh my goodness gracious, that was something. Talking last night with Aaron about that video and about President Trump and about how much Ashley loved him. And mainly because President Trump loved America and still does, and Ashley did too, that is for sure. One of the great, in spite of the circumstances, one of the most amazing privileges of my life has been the allowance of me to get involved with the family, to invite me to learn all about Ashley's life and learn about how amazing of a woman she is, a patriot and a servant to our military, a servant to this country that she was. Learn about what an amazing daughter and what an amazing wife and what an amazing friend she was to everyone. And so it was a real privilege to be invited into this precious circle. But it was great to be able to learn so much about this patriot who actually is more like us than you could ever imagine. And learning about her, it occurred to me, as much as a unique personality that Ashley was, she is a lot like all of us. There are millions of Ashleys out there. Some of them are still incarcerated, but others are just out there and supporting common sense, supporting this country. One of the people who really conveyed this to me in a beautiful, artful way was Aaron Babbitt. Aaron and I have been talking for months now, and we talked last night. It wasn't just a whiskey talking, baby. It was us in our hearts, and I have made a tremendous, amazing, lifelong friend, and have learned about what an amazing man Aaron Babbitt is, but also about this amazing love story between Aaron and Ashli. That was probably one of the more beautiful things that just struck me, is this love that they shared for each other. And it just was unbelievable to be invited into that life, to learn that. And so I want to introduce you to a great man, a veteran himself, a lover of this country, and Ashli Babbitt's beloved husband, Aaron.
Thank you, everybody, in sort of what you're doing for our family and our wife. There's no words for it. Just looking at your faces, having a chance to actually sit down and speak with most of you, I hope, and shake your hands. It does so much for our spirit in such a dark, black time. I learned very quickly after the initial shock, in awe of the situation on the 6th, that I was going to have to bring myself to a point emotionally that may not be best, but it's best for Ashli and it's best for us. So when I say that person shot my wife, he didn't just kill her, he took my soul. It's gone for right now. It might come back, but there's no good reason for me to bring it back right now, because this fight is going to be the David versus Goliath, like a lot of you hear me say all the time, and it's the damn truth. We are going to be into this for years, and they're hoping the longer they drag it on, the longer they drag it out, people stop losing interest. This room's telling me that that's not going to happen. All these cameras are telling me that's not going to happen.
Yes, it's going to happen.
The one thing I try to get across to people is just one person talk to 5 people every day on Ashli. Tell them what you know about Ashli. Tell them what you heard. Maybe they haven't heard. Maybe they heard something different. Maybe they know something else. But those 5 people are going to go talk to 5 other people, and that will compound it. And we're getting her name out there. And that is going to be the #1 reason why we win this, because we stay on top of it. That's right. And we do not let them bury her. A lot of people, you see me on interviews and stuff. The majority, I'll say that not just because John and Kara are here, but the majority of it is Newsmax, because they have been there to help and support us from the beginning. Fox News called me when they want some shocking on, they want to put me on there, and show me videos of Ashli getting shot. That's what they want to do.
Big facts.
It's the damn truth. There ain't nobody else calling but Newsmax. I can call them and get whatever my message across without issue, ever. I got a little off track there, I'm sorry.
You good, brother?
The Texas love is actually bad in reality. I don't think a lot of you in this room know how much Ashli Babbitt loved the state of Texas. We live in a tourist town in San Diego, and the lights that would go off in our eyes when we'd be sitting at the brewery, we hang out at one of our local spots, and somebody would walk in from Texas. That fake obnoxious, I'm not saying yours is, hers was fake obnoxious accent would come out, because she spent time here. She was stationed here. She was stationed at Dias. She still, at the time of her death, has her name on the deed to a property here in the state of Texas, in Abilene. And she was not more proud of anything other than that. And honestly, she had true plans of us, coming back here to retire. This is my second time on Texas soil. It's definitely not going to be my last. The first time was when she had the opportunity when we moved from Maryland to San Diego. We drove straight through, all the way through, and we stopped and we stayed in Denton for like 3 or 4 days. We ended up spending almost a week in Texas just because she wanted to be here. So Ashli Babbitt loves you, Texas. I can promise. This has been a rough day. I cry a lot on my own. You see me on these interviews and it looks, people say, oh, you're doing such a great job, you're so strong. You don't see what's going on behind that. Wilma knows. Me and Wilma had the sad, I'm going to call it privilege, I don't even know what you want to call it. Me and Wilma were the ones that had to separate Ashli's ashes to distribute them to the family.
Thank you, Wilma. Thank you, Aaron.
God, the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But I have this, we call it travel in Ashli. It's in a really cool little glass jar with a peace sign on it, and a swirly thing. It's got a cork top. So I have obviously a couple different, I have a big box that they got for me, and it's beautiful. And then I have travel in Ashli, so I take it down to the beach sometimes, take it at sunset. I was going to bring them here, but I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now. But what people don't know, when I'm sitting on my computer doing these nationwide interviews, travel in Ashli sitting right in front of me.
Woo! Yes. Yes. Yes, yes.
I don't need it with a reason. So it's not my strength, it's hers. And, I pull strength from all people, all of you, all around the world. I get love from so many countries. It's unbelievable. The big one lately is in Australia. You see what's going on there. And those people are sending you letters saying your wife is standing up for what she believed in and what we need as a nation here. And we need people like your wife. For me to hear that, it's so bittersweet because Ashli was bigger than life. She was larger than life. I mean, she was such a small package, but you knew when she was around. In closing, because like I said, I wish I could go on all night, but I literally have to get up to Houston to get on a flight for 7:20. But I would absolutely be open to doing this every year on her birthday.
Yes.
And I'd like to see a couple more chairs filled next year. And then we can get a couple more after that, and then we can move to the bigger building. And then maybe one day we can get this thing outside, standing room only. Because she deserves it. She deserves it. So thank you. That's all I do. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Well, and one of the other amazing things about Aaron and Micki and the entire family is that they have still stayed strong in speaking out about Ashli and speaking out about justice for her in spite of the flood of lies surrounding her death. And the flood of lies surrounding her life, they've still maintained that strength, they've still maintained that dignity, and they've still maintained that Ashli deserves justice, and we will give it to her. So thank you guys for that. Before we get on to the further part, we do have a late ad, and that's General E. I don't know whether he's, oh, there you are, buddy. So General E, and I'm sure Ashli, I mean, she might consider voting for him if she were in Texas, because he's not only a constitutionalist, but he is also, ladies and gents, a candidate for governor of the great state of Texas. General E, good to see you, buddy.
You leave it to, buddy?
We're not gonna make this about.
Yeah, I can take it from here.
What we are going to do is we're going to identify a few things
That happened. Not everything that happened was bad. Not everything. Because now you have a family. You definitely have a family in Texas.
Yeah.
Her spirit, her fight, her grace, her beauty is all within us, with us from now on. I would have not have known her if it weren't for this situation. And I would have much rather met her a different way. Make no doubt in your mind that she is loved by millions and millions of people. She's adored by me. I dearly love her. She was a Texan in my book. You are a Texan in my book. You will always be welcome in Texas. Not only will you be welcome, I will be offering land here in Texas. I heard that there's a deed to some property already here in Texas. We would like to make y'all official Texans. Whenever you're ready, we would like to bring you. Come home. Whenever you're ready, we will keep you, we will love you, and we will always take care of you. I don't know whether to yell. I don't know whether to cry. I don't know whether to scream right now. My stomach, when I think about what happened, makes me sick. And it's because it happened to my sister. I watched my sister, and that's who she is. She's our sister. She's a sister to Texas. She's a sister to America. Watching what happened to her was one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my life. And I know that there's no way that I could ever console you. But I know who can. The Lord, Yahweh. He will keep you. And I pray that the angels will be around you and protect you. And they will guide us, and they will give us peace in our hearts and our souls. As she looks down on us, as Ashli and the Lord look down next to each other and smiling upon us, knowing that we will continue to fight for her. We will continue to stand with her and the Lord on the righteous side. We have love, respect, pride. We have all of that for you. You have that here. It's a gift that we give you freely. We share the pain in our hearts and our souls along with you, and hope that you know that we will get justice for you. I promise that. We will get justice for Ashli Babbitt, your daughter, our sister, and our American patriot. We seek peace through nonviolent actions, and they keep using and upping the ante with us still, even after the circumstance on January 6th. I would have been there next to Ashli, and I probably would have been standing with her. I might have been the one in the window, actually. Y'all might actually be here for me if I was able to go January 6th. But I was undergoing medical tyranny for not wearing a mask in the mall. See, Ashli's situation is symptomatic to many other things that are going on in this country. It's not just that situation that is completely disturbing, wrong, and unethical. This man that did this deserves justice. There is no question about it that this man deserves justice for what he did. He lied under oath. He went on an interview. And he perjured himself.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yes.
You don't get to commit perjury, especially for a heinous murder, such as what he did. He will find justice, I promise you. The Lord will have justice with that man. For what they did, for what he did, how they demonized her. You think we weren't watching? Oh boy. we've been watching. We've been watching. I have a scripture that I'm devoting to Ashli today. Everybody's heard it. It's probably nothing new that y'all haven't heard before. I'm going to read that right now. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Yeah.
For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
Yeah.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house.
Say it, brother! Say it! Yeah! Say it, brother!
Smiling down upon us. She's fearless. She was fearless. Her beauty was amazing. Her smile was just shattered. Her soul, you could see it. You could see it. It was righteous. It was good. She had no violence in her. None. Not any. No violence in Ashli Babbitt whatsoever. But there are men out here that are capable of violence. There are men capable of many things out in this world. And one of them is going to pay for what they did.
That's right.
And I promise that will happen.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to invite you all to Texas. I want you to come home. I really do. I really want you guys to come home to Texas. What's going to happen here in Texas is we're going to secede from the Union.
Hell yeah!
We're leaving the government behind. We're creating a new country. It's going to be the country of Texas. And we want you guys to be our honored guests in Texas. Come and reside here, be safe here, be loved here, be cherished, and I can guarantee you that you will live the rest of your days out here with Ashli smiling on you in Texas. Thank you. I'm gonna close with the Lord's Prayer. If any of you would like to join me, we'll do that now. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass upon us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. We love you, Ashli Babbitt. Happy birthday, sister. We love you. Thank you.
I'd like to address some of the ironies that are taking place here. I don't know if anyone has noticed I've got a little bit of a Yankee accent. And if I drink enough beers, I end up saying beer, and I end up parking the car, okay? But here's the irony. I moved to Texas about 30 years ago. I was here when Ashli Babbitt was assassinated, and I saw it, and it moved me to make an oil painting. I'm an amateur oil painter, and I did a portrait of Ashli. And when I posted that portrait on Facebook, I did like type of a eulogy, okay? Did that. And then I closed with, should anyone in Ashli's family see this portrait, I would be honored if you'd accept this from me as a gift, a tribute painting of Ashli as a gift. Can anyone guess who found it? The guest of honor, our friend, Micki, Ashli's mom. True story. She found it. Months later, I made the painting shortly after she was assassinated. Ashley came across, right?
Yes.
I made?
Yes.
And she called me. Well, first was a text.
That's right.
She said, I'm Ashley's mother. I like the painting. And I said, right off the bat, I said, that's your painting, ma'am. That's your painting. It's for you and your family. That's how this whole thing got started. So a Yankee in Texas makes a portrait painting of a lady who got assassinated in California. The mother sees it, contacts me, and this is the end result. We worked hard, didn't we?
We did.
We worked hard putting this together. And we're so glad that it was so successful with the people that came. We love y'all. We love y'all coming here and expressing your love for the family. I've gotten to know this family. You've been staying with us a few days in my home. Welcome, as long as you want. And I just feel honored to be in this position, working with this family. Who have worked their way in my heart. And I'll never forget it. You'll always have a place in my heart and a place in my home, anytime. Okay?
Thank you.
So I am honored now to introduce my friend, Ashley's mom, Micki with the hall. Big round of applause, please.
Thank each and every one of you that's here. I say that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Some of you came from a long way. Pastor Edward from Idaho. Thank you, Pastor Edward. I would like to say a special thank you to my husband who helped me raise such a brave and powerful woman. Amen. I would like to thank my friend Wilma, who literally pulled me out of bed and threw me in the shower. I would like to thank Taylor Hansen, who held and comforted my daughter as she died, and then delivered comforting words to me despite this tragedy. I know that everybody in this room is here because January 6th has touched them in some way. I appreciate every one of you. My daughter sacrificed a lot for this country. She served this country. She was injured in combat, and then ultimately gave her life. Ashley's in heaven now in a better place, but what I'd like to talk about is the situation in this country and things that can be changed. There's absolutely nothing you can do to bring my daughter back. But you can call the Capitol Police, the Capitol Switchboard, harass them every day. You'll feel like you're getting nowhere. I would also like to thank Julie Kelly. Julie Kelly's been a tireless champion for our detainees. These men and women that are still in jail being treated in a way that we're not allowed to treat animals in this country, suffering still, most of them for little more than carrying a flag. That's not an American thing to do. We don't treat our citizens like that, much less our patriots. So speak up, speak loudly until somebody hears you. You know, I would like to say again, every single person here is appreciated, but where is everybody else? You know, because they squashed the movement that day. They killed my daughter and they jailed patriots and they said, look what happens when you question us.
Yeah, that's right.
Look what happens when you dare to buck the establishment. Look what happens when you dare to knock on the palace door. And I see no children in this room, so I will go ahead and say it. Fuck off and die, Nancy Pelosi. Also, when you call the Capitol Switchboard, you need to remind them that the 14,000 hours of missing footage belongs to us.
That's right! Yes!
It belongs to us. It's paid for with your dollars, my dollars, not their dollars. But let me tell you one reason they don't let us see it. Our political detainees are not being even shown their discovery against them. They're sitting in jail right now. They don't even know what evidence they have against them. You know why? Because if they're shown that evidence, it is the very same evidence that will incriminate the FBI, the Capitol Police. And let's talk about the Capitol Police for a minute, okay? I'm in complete support of law enforcement. That's right. My daughter was law enforcement. Capitol Police is something else.
Damn straight.
The Capitol Police are not police. They serve the Congress. They were given powers by the Congress doesn't have the right to give. And if you want to talk about that, who does Congress work for? Us. Should be working for us. When's the last time your congressman did something for you? You know, a congressman from Arizona, Dr. Paul Gosar, I love him with my heart. When Wilma and I went on our Sacramento journey, we felt a little defeated coming home because it's California. It's the quintessential hug-a-thug state. You know, Congressman Gosar is from Arizona, and on my way home from Arizona, I heard Congressman Gosar speak for the very first time. It was the clip of the video where you heard him command the floor. Command it. Got back his attention, shut Rosen down. You know, made him feel like a fool. You know, so I love Congressman Gosar. I love him. He's got a special place in my heart. Cynthia Hughes, she runs the Patriot Project. She's raised money. She's helped political detainees. Julie Kelly's Patriot Mailbox, write these people. Wilma and I have written every single prisoner. We've gotten letters back that are haunting. They're haunting. The things that people are going through, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And who do you have to tell? Our leaders know this. They know it. But what are they going to do about it? What are we going to make them do about it? How are we going to hold them accountable? We need to. You know, and like I said, every single person that's here, lovely, but where is everybody else? They're scared, and they're rightfully so, because they're still, people that showed up on January 6th and did nothing but stand on the steps, ask Ellen Schroyer, you know, months later, and he's considerably more powerful than your average citizen. But again, know in your heart, these are people that serve this country. And even if you didn't serve this country, you had a right to live here. You have a right to live here. You have a right to the freedoms. And stop saying insurrectionist. Yep. There has been nobody from January 6th charged with insurrection.
Yeah, that's right. Antifa, insurrectionist,
Antifa. And at this point, calling anybody that was there an insurrectionist should be a libelous activity. It should be libelous.
Oh, CNN. That's right.
That's right. So everybody needs to get their head out of CNN and, you know, find what's really going on, because we're being lied to, and it seems to be okay.
Be brave like Ashley.
Be brave like Ashley.
That's right.
And that being said, I would like to say, you know, this is a sad and happy occasion. I love and miss my daughter, but my daughter would say, don't be sad for me. Be brave for me.
That's right.
Be brave. Be brave, America. Right. You know, don't let them squash that American spirit out of you. This country was founded on so much more. We are not sheep.
That's right.
Maybe all of us aren't lions. You don't have to be a lion. Just don't be a sheep. Just don't be. Speak up for yourself and know what's right. If you see something that's wrong, speak up. Don't be afraid to have people not like you. Don't be afraid to have people hear you sing the national anthem. Don't be afraid to have people look at you like, oh my God, what is she saying? You know, just speak up. Say what's in your heart.
That's right.
Say what's in your heart, because there's goodness in so many people, but there's fear. There's honest fear in this country now because of what's happened. January 6th should have been a proud day. It was a proud day for me. And I would like to say I'm a proud mother of Ashli Babbitt. I would also like to say I don't want to say his name and give him that satisfaction or even acknowledge him on this sacred day. But I would also once again like to point to Taylor Hanson, a young man that could be an example to all of us, because he said it before anybody else would. It cost him dearly. Saying his name cost Taylor Hanson dearly, but he said it. He continues to say it.
Great man.
Absolutely.
Real journalist.
I would like to thank people like Kara Castronova, who speaks up for everybody.
Brave woman.
I would also like to say my daughter was not the only one to die that way. The Capitol Police behaved horribly. We need to see that footage. We need to see it. We need to see David Summerall's video is hard to watch. I couldn't watch it. My friend Wilma watched it for me, and she told me it was in there, and I trust nobody more than her. There's literally a timestamp video. Like David said, he doesn't narrate. He shows you what happened. You see what happened in real time. That situation was brought to my attention, that as my daughter lay dying on the ground, there were patriots outside singing God Bless America to welcome her home.
Yes.
As she lay dying.
Yeah.
So, what can we do? I don't know. I know violence isn't the answer. Power is the answer. Where do we get our power? From each other. We get it from each other. We get it from God. Find your strength in God. Find your strength in each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Look to each other. Look to your left, look to your right. Know these people love you. And do what's right in your heart. Not what somebody else tells you, because you know what's right, you know what's wrong. And again, I would just like to say, my daughter was one of the bravest people I know. I'm not sure how much I had to do with that. I think she came out that way. She came out that way. She answered the call of this country so many times, and I'm not sure she would have it any other way. I don't know if she would go back and do things differently. I know I would. I would chain her to the chair and not let her go. But maybe that's not the right way to feel either. Our family's paid dearly. This is what has done to all of us. And this country's paid dearly because it silenced a movement. It silenced a movement. There were hundreds of thousands of people there that day to speak up for what they thought was right. And also, let's talk about what's right. Let's talk about the numbers on election. How many of you people are still going to vote? Are we all going to vote?
Yeah.
All right. What are we going to do to ensure a fair election? What choices do we have? That's something to ask yourself too. Is it about electing the right people? Is it about getting rid of the wrong people? California just had an election to recall Governor Newsom. Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Evil runs deep in that family. He didn't get recalled. Yet, living in California, I can't walk the streets and find one person that supports him. What happened there? We don't know. We have no idea how he remains in office. So, thank everybody for coming again. And I can't say that enough. I appreciate it. But please go out and tell people, not just about my daughter, but about this country and the things that it should stand for, the things it used to stand for, the things it can stand for again. I feel empowered being here in Texas. This is a powerful day for me. Some days are sad, some days are angry. Today feels powerful. Today feels happy. So thank each and every one of you for sharing that with me. God bless you.
Yes.
Come on, applause for Micki. Yes, man. I have the honor to now introduce Kara Castronova. She is the founder of CAP, Citizens Against Political Prisoners. And without any further delay, I'd like to have her say some words. Here you go.
Welcome, Kara.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Ashley's mom and her family. Now we have to follow up on it after Ashley's mom. That was a beautiful speech and had me tearing up. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So for anyone here who doesn't know, my name is Kara Castronova, and I'm the founder of Citizens Against Political Persecution, which I founded shortly after January 6th to fight for the guys that are being detained in DC prison right now, and anybody for that matter, that's being politically persecuted, whether they're being censored off social media, from something like that to someone who's the ultimate politically persecuted person, which was Ashli Babbitt, who lost her life, and she's being persecuted after death in the way that the media has treated her and her legacy.
continue to use her as a political pawn, which I think is disgusting. So that's what we're fighting to change. So I wrote a little bit of stuff here that I wanted to thank the organizer, Al, for doing this today. A beautiful event. Thank everybody. We'll give a round of applause for Al. I've gotten to know Micki, I'd say over the past few months, talking to her on the phone, and I actually don't confide in many people, but Micki, I've told you a lot of things more than I tell a lot of people. She's a beautiful person, and meeting her in person has been an honor today. And I would like to wish Ashli a happy birthday as well. I know she's watching down on us today. So, like I mentioned, I'm fighting currently for the January 6th prisoners being detained in Washington, D.C., but we also fight, like I said, for Ashli Babbitt, who was the ultimate political prisoner. I mean, ultimately politically persecuted citizen, and I can't say that enough. She continues to be politically persecuted after her death, and Nancy Pelosi, the fake news, who are disgusting. They're inhumane monsters. They don't care about an American veteran's life. They care about using her death and January 6ers for their own evil purposes, which is to get reelected, to continue to demonize Trump supporters and half of the country, and everybody here in this room today. And we're not going to let that happen. Nope. What they need to use the January 6th Commission for is to, like President Trump said, like Micki said, is to further investigate the death of Ashli Babbitt and the 3 other people who died that day. I've been writing for Gateway Pundit. I'm working now with Newsmax, doing a lot, American Gulag, which is another site, doing a lot of investigations. Ashli wasn't the only person to lose her life that day. There were 3 other people that died. One of them, we've proven, was killed not by natural causes, like reported. She died more than likely being caused by Capitol Police, and there's a witness to that today, which is Phil Vanderson. And there were 2 other people that died that day, very questionable stuff. But today we're here to talk about Ashli, and I want to talk about Ashli Babbitt's legacy. First, I want to say that her legacy, what her legacy is not. She was not an insurrectionist. She was not a domestic terrorist. Her legacy will not be rewritten by the fake news media, big tech, or the deep state swamp politicians. They say that history is written by the victors, and right now those nefarious institutions are under the impression that they won. They're wrong. We have the truth on our side. We have God on our side. And in the end, other fellow human beings that I am confident will open their hearts to the truth. And in the end, we will be victorious. And in the end, Ashli's true legacy will shine through and will be remembered forever.
Thank you, Carol.
What is Ashli's legacy? To start with, after death, she continues to bring people together in mind and spirit, and in this case today, in body, we're all here together today to remember her, to feel compassion and outrage as we continue to fight for her justice and the rejection of her character, even though we are being told, and people are being told every day by the media not to, but we're still here, we're still fighting, we won't stop fighting. Who here was there on January 6th? If you're, don't be afraid. The FBI, I don't think anyone else in the FBI information. I was there on January 6th. And when I think of January 6th, I still get sick with emotion. The media calls it one of the biggest days in American history, and I agree, but for different reasons. Not because of the insurrection, quote unquote, but because as far as I know, it was the biggest protest to the government by the people to petition their grievances in the history of America. In the history of America, hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million people were there that day to petition the government peacefully. And that got lost on everybody because they painted this as an insurrection. Sorry guys, the type is really small here. Let me see. And people came from every corner of the United States to petition from election integrity, and that, like I said, that beauty of the day was lost to the media. And they're spinning the narrative still to this day as they see fit. So I asked myself, why did I choose to start an entire organization fighting for those politically persecuted pertaining to January 6th? I really had to look inside myself and be honest, and it really started, this is not a lie, with Ashli Babbitt that day. Because I remember close friends of mine. I'm from New York. There are some normal people in New York, left, believe me, but I have friends, obviously, that are on the left, and they're calling me up saying to me, oh my God, did you see, and I hate to say this, and it's
it's terrible that this is how the news affects people, but they were like, you didn't go in, did you? There was a girl that got shot, oh my God, like they were almost saying it was like she deserved it, and that sounds terrible, that the media has this power that they would say that. And the thing is this, it broke my heart because if I was completely honest with myself, I was there that day. I felt the emotion, I felt the adrenaline rush. You know, everybody felt it, we all felt it, we were all, the ones that were there that they know what I'm talking about. And if I'm honest with myself, I know that in a moment of passion, who knows if I would have done the same thing? If I would have just climbed through that window. I'm just being honest with myself, right? And so does that mean my friends would have been okay with it if I was shot? So this is something that, like, I could get teary-eyed. I thought about this for weeks. Like, would my friends be okay with the fact that I was shot because I decided I wanted to, like, petition the government and I climbed through a window? Because that's what they were insinuating to me, and it just bothered me so much. Something about that just bothered me. And it haunted me, and rather than let it eat me up inside, I decided to start this organization to fight the stigma and the fake news media that has so many of my friends in New York and elsewhere in this country completely brainwashed.
Yeah.
Brainwashed, yeah. And the narrative needs to change. So, a few more things. January 6th is a day I'll never forget. I get sick with emotion thinking about it. I can still smell, feel, and taste it. The smoke bombs, the tear gas, everything. Everybody that was there, they Philip, you know. I hear the voices like grown men crying. Literally, people praying. Police attacking American citizens. Capitol Police and DC Police Metro treating us terribly. Like, I cannot think about it without getting teary-eyed. I just... More than anything, I can still feel the heartbreak and the betrayal I felt by the government, by the United States government. And I still could cry thinking about it today. And that day was a turning point for me. But I got to, sorry guys, I'm going to skip ahead a little because I know this is going on. But, you know, there was a lot of people out there that day, like Ashli, veterans of foreign wars, grandparents with grandchildren, soccer moms, farmers from the Midwest, cowboys from the Deep South, New Yorkers like me all mixed together. We were at this massive protest. All we were asking for was election integrity. And amongst those protesters was Ashli Babbitt. And again, I will say it again, this is who she was, a decorated war veteran, a beloved wife, a daughter, a dog mom. She was there in the prime of her youth. She was in her element, just like me. She was completely high up seeing President Trump, right, deliver his speech, amped up to share her voice. And I know she wanted to be heard that day, but she was shot, killed by a very evil Capitol Police officer, a monster. And I won't name him either. I didn't even watch that interview with him because it made me sick. I turned it off after 2 seconds. All I saw was a liar.
Yes.
A liar.
That's right.
And I don't think that Ashli could have imagined the outcome of her life that day. And I also don't think she could imagine that 10 months and 4 days later, she would still be the subject of an event here at a marina in Texas, and a household name pretty much now around the world. And nobody wanted to say her name a few months ago, but now people are saying her name. It was my promise to Ashli's mom. I don't remember when I said this to you when I first spoke to you some months ago.
I know what you're going to say.
That one day people, when they Google your daughter's name, under the word insurrectionist will not pop up.
Absolutely.
The fake news articles from disgusting outlets like the LA Times, who wrote a horrible piece saying she deserved to be shot, will no longer be at the top of the fake Google search engine. We will not mention the evil Capitol Police officer's name. He will no longer be lauded a hero like a sick Lester Holt and other talking head propaganda heads of the deep state insinuate. Ashli Babbitt was a war hero and a casualty of political persecution. She united and will continue to unite people to fight against political persecution far after her death. She will be remembered as a martyr, and she wrote her own legacy by living her life. And the fake news media and conniving politicians do not get to rewrite someone's life story to fit their nefarious agenda. By assassinating Ashli, they tried to assassinate an entire movement, and they tried to assassinate all of our voices. She represented all of us, and we will not let them win. We will not let Ashli die in vain.
That's right. Oh.
In closing, I have a lot to thank Ashli for, and I really mean that. I'm an experienced fighter, I'm an experienced boxer, champion boxer. So I fought other people to win titles, but I think God was preparing me to fight for other people once I grew up and out of boxing.
And by becoming an advocate for Ashley's cause, she's teaching me to fight for someone I didn't know or ever met, but still found it in my heart to care deeply about. That to me is something that means more to me than any boxing title I ever could have won. And I can really thank Ashli for showing me that there are causes out there that may be worth dying for.
That's right.
And that definitely are worth being canceled for, which I have been. I don't care. Because of Ashli, this has been illustrated to me that it's possible to forge a bond with people across thousands of miles of the United States, based only on love, patriotism, human empathy, and compassion. So I would like to demand that Nancy Pelosi, I'm not going to, you use the word harm, that's what she is. Nancy Pelosi, with your phony January 6th commission, demand justice for Ashli Babbitt. We demand an investigation that's separate from the commission for Ashli's deaths and the deaths of the other 3 protesters that day that died.
That's right.
And we're demanding it. That is our, and like President Trump said, it has to be completely bipartisan. It has to be separate from the Congress. The Congress should not be investigating something that they're quote unquote a party to. They're saying that they were being attacked. They're saying that they were under, it was an insurrection, that they were being attacked, so they should not be a part of this investigation. They should not be investigating that police officer, who belongs in prison, by the way. So please hang around after this, everybody. We're going to be doing Newsmax interviews, ask your opinions on different topics, like talk about Ashli and different stuff going here in Texas and political persecution, stuff like that. So if you want to do a really brief interview, we're going to have the news mic outside. And I really wanted to plug Patriot Freedom Project. Please check that out. That's really helping the prisoners in jail right now. Citizens Against Political Persecution, citizensact.us. That's my organization. You can follow me at Karakashnova. I'm doing the shameless plug thing.
That's okay.
Wise Guys, 10 p.m. on Newsmax Eastern Standard Time, or you can also watch it here in Texas at 9 p.m. Check me out on the Gateway Pundit, which I've been writing for an American Gulag. And obviously, donate to Ashli's legal fund, because if we get the truth out about Ashli, that's going to really put the truth out there about January 6th. And that's Ashli's legacy. She's going to really help put the truth out there about January 6th, I think, when her trial comes. And I think that the best thing that we could do is contribute to her legal fund so that we make sure the truth gets out there and all the evidence comes out. So again, happy birthday, Ashli Babbitt, and our condolences to her family, and thank you all for coming, and let's keep the truth out there and to keep doing this every year for Ashli.
Thank you.
Good job,
Good lady. One round of applause, please. Thank you. Now, Terry did mention the legal fund, and I happen to have a website for them, in case you're interested. It is www.givesendgo.com. Okay? www.givesendgo.com. /Justice for Ashli. Thanks, Dad. This is an important part of it. I'm going to do the whole thing over again. I'm sorry. www.givesendgo.com /Justice for Ashli. Okay? And looking for you. Anyway, we were going to pass a little container around, and we were going to show the family how we do things in Texas, okay? We do things big. So give me a bucket, a box, I don't care what it is. There we go. Sorry. All right. Again, this is a rally in Ashli's memory and in honor of her. It's a celebration of her birthday, and it's also a fundraiser. Okay, so if anyone would like to donate, we'd like to see this little basket get filled to the top if possible. And we're just going to pass that around.
Nobody has cash anymore, Al.
We don't carry cash.
Nobody carries cash. That's okay.
I throw my
Put some
credit
love
card
in there. We'll take the love too.
No, I was asking you.
No, you're good. You're good. That's
good. We do that in Texas. That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what we
fair.
do. We pass the hat. Heck yeah. Absolutely.
We have one more speaker who would like to take the podium here. His name is Philip Anderson. He's with Team Save America, another great Ashli Babbitt supporter here on her birthday, celebrates her birthday with us. And here he is, Philip Anderson with us.
What happened to Ashli was terrible. And the fact that people are trying to say, well, it's okay, she's an insurrectionist, she deserves it. They know damn well it's not true. It's beyond unforgivable, and I've had just about enough of it. I really can't take it anymore. Because what they've done is they made every person in this room less than human. That's what they're doing. They don't care if you get shot, they don't care if you get beaten, they literally don't care if you get your teeth knocked out, as they did to me. And after they did it, they called me a white supremacist. And then after that, they banned me off Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, instead of banning Berkeley and Antifa, who incited violence against me and my friends for months, against our free speech rally and protest against big tech in San Francisco last year on October 17th. So that's one of the issues I have. The fact they treat us less than human, and that ends up getting us killed, and ends up getting us hurt. What happened to Ashli Babbitt was terrible, and it's a great example of the fact that she was not the only one who was treated this way. You're Ashli Babbitt, any of us are Ashli Babbitt, and so is Roseanne Boylan. Roseanne Boylan was also killed that day, and they lied about the cause of death. First they said it was an overdose that killed her. That was a lie. Then they said it was Trump supporters that killed her. That was a lie. I was there. I was holding Roseanne Boylan's hand as we were both getting crushed to death. The fact that the media would even try to lie about this, the fact that the police would try to lie about this, the fact that they would call her racist, call her insurrectionist, when she never even tried to set foot inside the building. She committed no crime. You killed her for no reason whatsoever. And if it wasn't for Jake Lang, who you threw in prison, I would be dead too. What they did is they gassed the entire crowd, and it wasn't even tear gas. I've been asking over and over, what kind of gas did they use? Tear gas burns the face. This gas was different. It didn't make it difficult to breathe. It made it so you literally could not breathe. I turned around to run as quickly as I could. My body went limp, and I face planted and slid and fell all the way down the steps. And about 30 to 40 other people fell right down on top of me. But the police officers weren't done. They said over the radio, they said, F them up, give them hell. So what they did after that is that they maced all of us. I was at the bottom of the crowd, and there was so much mace, it drenched my hoodie, it drenched my t-shirt, it drenched my bare skin, and for 5 minutes they continued to mace, they continued to fire rubber bullets, they continued to beat people bloody in there with their bats or batons, whatever it is that they used, they were beating people with it. All I could hear was pops and bangs. I thought the liquid that was coming down on me was blood. I had no idea what was going on. I thought the people on top of me were dying. I was getting crushed to death. I could feel my leg breaking. Roseanne Boylan reaches out to grab my hand, and then she lets go, and she's gone. After this all happens, people finally get up and they say, we need to stop the police. They're killing these people. I hear Jake Lang yell, hey, there's people down here. So they push the police back, they tell them to stop, and the police keep pushing more and more people on top of us. This did not happen for about 20 or 30 seconds. This happened for minute after minute after minute after minute. They literally did not give a shit whether they killed us or not, because we are Trump supporters, and because many of the people there were white. Last time I checked, this is a Christian country, and it's always been a white country, so they need to get some things straightened out here. The fact that the police officers would go up there and claim that they're heroes after what they did is insane to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It really just breaks my heart to see it. It makes me more angry than anything. After they killed Roseanne Boylan, she was lying there. A police officer grabs her baton and she beats down on the dead body again and again and again and again and again until the baton flies out of her hand because of how hard she hit her body. So I want to know how that's an overdose. I want to really know how that's Trump supporters killing her. How is that? And the media, why aren't you talking about this? I was promised that we'd have freedom, liberty, and justice for all in this country. That is not what is fucking happening. That has never happened for the time that I've been living here. I've been treated less than human. People have tried to kill me. The Capitol Police tried to kill me. The FBI tried to take me down. They tried to cover up what happened. They tried to put me behind bars to silence me. They put me on the no-fly list. So I called up the FBI. I said, "You need to come to my house. You take me off the FBI no-fly list. I did nothing wrong." So they come to my house. And I tell them, you can look at the body cam. You can go ahead and you can look at security footage. You'll see I did nothing wrong. It was the fucking Capitol Police that killed people that day. They said, "Okay, we'll take you off the no-fly list." And guess what they did next? They went to house to ask questions about me. They say, "We want to ask you about Philip Anderson and January 6th. You were there, right?" And they go to my other friend's house. "We want to ask you about Philip Anderson and January 6th. They go back to my other friend's house. "We want to ask you about Philip Anderson and January 6th. When those pieces of shit can't find anything, they start to talk to the social media companies that ban me. They say, "We want all the data. We want all the posts. We want all the information." Probable cause? No. So they can't get me for January 6th. So now they're trying to get me for something non-related. They're trying to find anything they possibly can. They're trying to find a post from 5 years ago and say, "Oh, he incited violence, put him in jail." That's what they're trying to do. Is that really what America is? Is that how we want to live? Well, that's what Joe Biden is. You see what Joe Biden has done. He has weaponized the IRS against us. He has weaponized the FBI against us like no president ever has. He refuses to secure the border. He's made his mission in life to put us behind bars, to get us hurt, to get us to commit an act of terrorism, to get us to start a civil war. That's what he's trying to do. And I want to make something clear to you, Joe Biden, and to the rest of the establishment, I'm not scared of you. I'm looking forward to the day that you finally cross the final line. I'm looking forward to it. And just to be clear, we were not there because it was an insurrection. We were there because we were trying to make sure that the election was not stolen. Because after what you did to us, where you banned us, censor us, demonetize us, and shadow ban us, not one, but millions and millions of us every single day, because of mass election interference, more election interference than Russia, China, or any foreign country combined can ever hope to commit. That is what you have done. You say that you're about democracy. This is what democracy looks like. No, this is what communism looks like. I see you do it over and over. Over and over. And the media demonizing us, calling us white supremacists, neo-Nazis, white nationalists. That's what they do. How's that a fair election when you demonize us every day, you tell lies about us? They lie about me, they call me a white supremacist.
Well, you look like one.
You get the point I'm trying to make. Also, they're discriminating against us, not allowing us into Hollywood. You're not going to see conservative actors in movies like Gina Carano. They kicked her out. Why did they kick her out? Why? They can't tell us why. They say, "Oh, it's because she's a Nazi." What makes her a Nazi? We can't say why. Then you're the Nazi. And we're getting really sick of this, because what you're doing is not democracy. What you're doing is Marxism. We've had enough of it. This is America, and you are pushing us to the limit. When you indoctrinate our kids, you cross every line that can be crossed. If you cross one more line, all I can say is this. There's no hesitation in my heart to take you out and to take the rest of you out. We want freedom. We told you time and time again, do not tread on us. You are treading on us. You are killing us. You're lying about the cause of our death. You are putting innocent people in jail that should not be in jail. It's the murderous cops. They nearly killed me and murdered Roseanne Boylan that should be in prison, should be in jail. But instead you put a hero in prison. You put the heroes in prison that saved my life. And what you did is you beat them every day, you mace them in the face, you won't let them take a haircut, you won't let them shower, you ration their food, you give them a boiled egg, a cracker, and mayonnaise for dinner every night. They treat terrorists better than that. Real terrorists, not the bullshit terrorists they talk about in the media. They treat pedophiles. They treat the people in Gitmo, the type of people that knocked down the World Trade Center. They treat better than this. Don't tell me the election was fair. Look what the fuck you're doing right now. How's this fair? Woo! How's this fair? Huh? When you kill me, kill another person, and you lie to her family members about it. Seriously, her husband's like, well, it was Donald Trump's fault. She was this QAnon member. That was not the case. That was all BS. It was the police that killed her. You were lied to. It was not an overdose. It was not Trump supporters that ran her over or, did whatever. It was the police. And the daughter thinks that she doesn't know this, and then she hears, oh, there's this guy that's holding her hand when she died, and then she cries. She breaks down, and her family, they had no idea because they're lied to by their own government.
Yes.
They're lied to by their own government. What is this? When you kill an American citizen and then the government lies to them. This is insanity. It's insanity. It really just breaks me down, and I'm so sorry for what happened to Ashli Babbitt. It cannot happen if it was any other person except for a white Trump supporter. God knows it'd be handled differently. God knows it'd be handled differently. But every single time, they push us, and they push us, and they push us. Well, I want to let you know this. I think I'm going to be the first one to say this. I'm not scared of fighting you. I'm talking about a literal fight. I'm not scared of it because I refuse to live like this any longer. I'm tired of seeing this get killed. I'm tired of seeing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm not scared of any of you. I'd rather die than live like this because you are persecuting us and it must stop. This is not democracy. We can't send our children to school without them getting indoctrinated. It is not democracy where we can't turn on the TV to Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or Disney Plus without our children getting indoctrinated. Yeah. It's not democracy. We're getting fired from our jobs for being a conservative. It's not democracy. We're getting kicked out of the military for being a conservative. Greg Musselwhite's son got kicked out of the military just for being a conservative. He commits suicide, and then Twitter censors the post that his dad tweeted talking about his son committing suicide because that piece of shit Joe Biden kicked him out. This has to stop.
Has to.
They're going to keep pushing us and pushing us until there is a civil war. We'll see all of these Trump supporters. January 6th happened because you kept pushing us because we can't trust you. You broke the trust. That's why there is no democracy, because you broke the trust. People can't trust the results because you broke the trust. Because you demonized them, you humiliated them, you persecuted them, you beat them in the streets every single fucking day. The things you said on the internet were insane. The fact that you talk shit about this innocent woman, Air Force veteran, you talk all this trash, she's a good person. All the people you're talking about that were killed that day were good people. You don't even know them. But just because they're Republican, you wish death upon them, you wish death upon all the Republicans. There's something wrong with you. You have to wake up to that. I'm not going to live like this anymore. Seriously. Thank you very much. I don't want to go too long.
Well, all good things come to an end, right? So our little get together here started out with an oil painting from a Yankee that lived, well actually I was brought up, I forgot to mention this, I was brought up 15 miles in a little town called Ford Fischer. And that's 15 miles south of where Aaron was brought up. So anyway, a little bit of trivia, so if anybody asks, that's nice. Anyway, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it so much. I'm sure the family appreciates it very much. Micki, Aaron, the whole family. Aaron, Ashley's dad is here as well. So let's not forget him. Good man. I've gotten to know all of them very well, and they're just really, really good people. So anyway, this will conclude our little event, and thank you so much for coming, really, honestly. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And one more thing. I put this together with Ashli, with Ashley's mom, Micki, and Aaron helped out a lot. And we're going to work on another one, right? That's right. And that field out there that holds 3,000 people, next year on her birthday, don't be surprised if we fill it, okay? That's what we're shooting for. We'll see y'all next year.
I want to see that boat rally.
All right. Thank you.
Alright, so that concluded the event. So I'm going to wrap the live stream here, but I will probably try to conduct a couple more interviews, and I'll have some HD footage up later. Again, this was a rally for Ashli Babbitt here in Freeport, Texas, which included her mother, father, and husband, as well as sort of many supporters of Ashli Babbitt. So I thought it was important to document this. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of the day.